for speed! Go!
Everybody, welcome to Cocktail Time. It's Sunday nights. This means it's time to drink and talk about video games, the most wonderful time of the week, our most favorite time. Hey everybody, welcome to Cocktail Time. I'm Joseph Christ, host of Cocktail Time, and with me today is Bob Webb. Say hello, Bob.
Hello.
And, of course, Chris Davis as well. How you doing, Chris?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm good. So I'm broadcasting this in a higher resolution tonight. So if everything is kind of fucked up on the feed, definitely let me know, and we can pull it down a peg. Hopefully it should be okay if my computer doesn't blow up. But I got tired of looking at all like the cocktail times and all this kind of stuff on YouTube at 360p, and it just looks poopy on YouTube. And it's time to turn things up a notch. It's time to make higher quality things happen.
I should get a better camera. I'm blurry.
I can for once, like usually Chris is really blurry.
Yeah.
But you are Chris looks beautiful. Look at him.
Oh, he's pristine.
Oh, you know why? Because he's on top right now. So if I do this, see, now I switch it over. Now Chris will be blurry.
Ooh.
And oh wait, no, I didn't do it. I didn't switch it over. There we go. Now you should be coming in. I see that. Look at that. So if I like you better, I'll just make you sharp and
nice,
beautiful looking. See,
I blame Google Hangout.
You got to blame Google Hangout.
Our ghetto setup.
Our ghetto setup. Yeah, it'd be nice if we were all in the same place, but we can't. We can't have that.
No,
it's probably better. I think if we were all in the same place, we would egg each other on to drink more. I think like, the same room where drinking was happening, we would. You know.
I remember.
That's absolutely dangerous.
Yeah, the live cocktail time at PAX Prime, which turned into let's see how much vodka Joseph can drink out of the bottle.
There was a lot of and that was like everyone was in on it.
Yeah,
of us. It was like a giant cocktail time. And I remember, so that was one of the same days where we did the interview with the people for State of Decay.
Yeah.
And I guess a couple of days after that, I had been, the PR person emailed me and said, hey, we got to listen to your podcast, and it was very interesting. I mean, and here's a couple of things you said that you might have gotten wrong. So they kind of gave us a list of like facts about the game. It wasn't like a nasty email.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because I'm like thinking, God, Jesus, you know, they've never listened to our podcast before, and they probably think that's it. Like that was it. Like there's our
insight. Jesus,
here's what we do all the time, and not the case. We would die.
Yes,
and no one would listen. Because it would not. It'd be, you can only watch a train wreck so many times before you have to turn away, I guess.
Yeah, and then people just want to
go back to Undead Labs' website. They did a post-mortem about their PAX Prime coverage.
Right.
And they devote a couple paragraphs to us.
Oh. Do they really? I did not. Yeah. I did not know this.
Yeah, I'll get the real quick.
Pull it up. Let's. Can you read it out? Read it to us.
Yeah, I gotta.
Okay. Oh, I had no idea this existed. I'm actually frightened.
Oh God! Hopefully, it doesn't include anything about the podcast.
I mean, everything else went well. I mean, our gameplay and our interview went well and stuff, and we do get hits from their site.
Okay, here we go. Quote, this team was a trip. First, 2 of them came over, then somebody else, then another. I ended up devoting a pocket just for 4-player business cards and finally asked what was up. and it turned out they were considering us for a Game of the Show award. So their whole team needed to get hands-on. Since we were showing only our alpha build, not even a proper demo, I guess you could say we were pretty excited. They brought us a little, quote, Game of the Year show nominee, end quote, placard. And sorry.
There's his old eyes playing tricks on him.
I need to clean my glasses.
Oh.
And I leaned that sucker up against our raffle jar. Parentheses, we didn't want to stick it to the booth because we wanted to take it back to the studio for our brag wall.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, check out the screenshots and the interview with Jeff. So they link to our site for both those things.
And they think my name is Jeff. Because I'm the one who did the interview. And my name.
You need to be emailing them with corrections.
No, I think
you should email them. I finally read your thing. Here's the corrections.
No, I think they're talking about. I think the guy you interviewed, his name was Jeff.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. And then next paragraph, money quotes for me. Quote, it's hard to demo a project as ambitious as this in a short amount of time on the floor of a convention. And from the podcast, quote, if they live up to what they say, this is going to be one of the deepest XBLA games that I've ever played, end quote.
Oh, I think that's positive. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I was supposed to actually, I was speaking to probably the same PR person. We were talking about, they were setting up some media event to get media people to the studio because they were in Seattle to demo the game again. And I think that fell through. I don't know if that actually even happened because I haven't heard of anybody else going down there. So I'll have to follow up with them and figure out if I'm going to head down there. So, all right, let's do Toast of the Week.
Oh,
where? Let's see. Should I go first? I don't know. What am I toasting? See, this is the problem here.
See, every fucking week I forget we even do this.
I don't know.
Maybe it's because we drink when we do it.
I think it's because we drink, and so the idea that we do this just flies out of our heads. So I'm gonna toast to Crystal Dynamics because tomorrow the first reviews for Tomb Raider start to hit, and it's so strange because the game is not out for almost another week, and I don't remember a recent embargo that was up so early before the game's release. So they must be feeling pretty good about what they have.
Yeah.
So I'm toasting to them, and good luck tomorrow. We didn't get a review copy, but we will definitely be reviewing it. So look for that on the site. Excuse me, in the next couple of weeks.
And you definitely can expect us to be playing the shit out of it on the feed. So
yeah, well, next new release Tuesday, I'll definitely be here for Tomb Raider. Bob, since you forgot, you can go next.
Awesome. Let's see. So I guess I will be toasting to Arcane Studios because I've been playing a lot of Dishonored recently. Finally going back to my backlog, and I kind of remembered why I spent 6 hours on the first mission.
Yeah,
it's been a long haul. I think I may be a little bit about halfway through the game, maybe 2/3, and I've played 14 hours.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's one of those things.
People complaining about the length of this game, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, people who complain about the length of this game, we're not playing this game correctly.
No, well, you can play it really straightforward, shoot 'em up, but there is so much part of that, so much stuff to discover, and the world is so despite the areas being relatively small, the way they're interconnected and the stories going through the whole you can talk to people and read the things and little notes and stuff you find, even with the side quests about these characters that you would never even fucking run into if you didn't go and explore.
Yeah. There's so much stuff kind of hidden.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of it seems like the world is much more it's actually a world rather than being this is just a playground to drive the plot forward.
Yeah.
So,
what are you drinking? I forgot. You go first.
Go. I got a shot of Crown here. And I'm going to drink. This is something Tara got for my birthday. It's an Angry Orchard cider, ginger cider. So it's a ginger, apple ginger.
That reminds me, I should put an addendum to mine and toast to you, Bob, because it was your birthday on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
So to you, and since you also spent the whole week working on back-end, 4-player back-end stuff.
Yeah.
You and I'll let you know. I'm drinking a Rasputin because because why not?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Chris Davis.
I never prepare for these either. I kind of pull them out of my ass as soon as you start mentioning it. Well, I think I'll just go ahead and give it to Crytek for Crysis 3 this past week.
Excellent. Yeah, we're going to talk about that as well.
It's a pretty damn good game.
And you can good.
My review isn't coming out until probably tomorrow or Tuesday because I haven't had shit time to do anything in the past few days. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, you'll have to like let me know about Crysis 3 because I have a problem getting into Crysis, but we'll talk about that. All right, let us do our toasts to Crystal Dynamics, to Crysis 3, and to Bob. Happy birthday, Bob. 1, 2, 3. All right. Excellent. All right. So yeah, I don't know, where should we begin?
Actually, Chris, what are you drinking?
Oh, what are you drinking, Chris?
Just some soda. I got work in the morning, so.
So do we, Chris. Just you know.
Now, if I drink, here's the thing: if I drink this late in the evening, the next day, if I'm not extremely hungover, I will not wake up before 11.
Oh, really?
It's just what happens to me.
Your body just shuts down.
It pretty much does, and waking up is the hardest thing for me to do after a late night of drinking. So
understandable. Yes, the whole Tomb Raider thing. It's really interesting how it's going to be a week out, and the embargo is going to be up, it seems so strange to me in this world of, you can't release your review until the game comes out because we're terrified of getting bad reviews. And, they probably feel really good about their product. They probably think they have something good on their hands. And I said this to you guys earlier, and I think I said it on Twitter as well, that I think I'm going to enjoy Tomb Raider, but I'm going to enjoy it in much the same way that I enjoyed Dead Space 3, where I enjoyed Dead Space 3 as a game, as a cool action game, but I didn't really enjoy it in the same way I've enjoyed Dead Space games in the past.
Absolutely.
And I think Tomb Raider is going to be the exact same thing. I think I'm going to enjoy it as a game and as this action experience, but I'm not going to enjoy it the way I enjoyed the old Tomb Raiders. And I'm not this Tomb Raider aficionado like someone like Brad is. I have liked them in the past, but I think this is going to be, I'll like it on its own accord, but not as a continuation, a true sort of continuation of the series. Yeah,
like the Hitman Absolution, it came out, it wasn't a bad game. It was enjoyable in its own right, but it wasn't a proper Hitman game.
I would disagree. I think Absolution was actually kind of a poor game in its own right.
If you cut out all of the evade the agency and evade the police officers, the game is decent.
Yes.
I like the some of the hits you do and some of the creative ways you can do them, and that's pretty much all the game should have been.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Like,
if they would have taken that, if they would have cut all the evading and stuff, and then put it into a separate game with improved mechanics, that could have been pretty good.
Oh no, definitely. And I think there was a spark of what makes Hitman a great game in there, but it just was kind of poorly mishandled. I guess that's sort of redundant. Poorly mishandled. It was wonderfully mishandled, to tell you the truth. They couldn't have mishandled it better. So I feel good about it. I'm excited to see what they have for us. I will say this. I mean, they are obviously going for more of an Uncharted type of thing, and I'm actually kind of surprised at how violent the game actually is. They put out this new survival video. I think it's video number 3 or survival video number 3, and Lara Croft is fucking dudes up. She's like throwing pickaxes into the top of their heads and slamming them into the ground and then blowing their heads off with a shotgun. It's actually more violent than Hitman Absolution in a lot of ways.
She's not an assassin. What the fuck?
Well, that's the thing. She's not, so she's sloppy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more blood and a lot more bludgeoning going on, I guess.
Weeping while she's doing it, or she just like got that crazy smile on her face?
She has that crazy eyes look, much like the lady who was outside my place earlier today. There was this.
Yeah, can you tell us that story?
Well, it's not much of a story. There was this woman in my garbage for the majority of the day today, and she was wearing multiple layers, and then on top of those layers was a white tutu. And I have pictures of this on my Twitter account.
Why the fuck did I miss this? I'm
the Joseph Christ. There's two of them. I was taking pictures of her from my upstairs, and she didn't seem very old. She seemed like she was maybe late 20s, but she was also super thin, like methed out almost.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and then she was sort of dancing around and singing, and then she had a bag, and she took out the entirety of the contents of her bag and laid them all out, and then was going through things and working on her outfit. And she worked on her outfit for about 4 hours, which involved her pulling off pieces of the tutu and then tying it onto her belt and then putting a new belt on. And then she had like 8 belts on, and she had on like pants and 3 skirts and like 2 tops, and then the tutu, and then another sweater. And then she was making hats out of the tutu pieces. And then at one point, she was flicking her nipples. And she was going, "Oh, it feels good! It feels good!"
You're making that part up.
No, I swear to God, I'm not. That was actually happening. And then I was watching, and I was like, wow, where's this going to go? Because this could get very, very interesting very quickly. But then she stopped. At that point,
just when you set up the camera to live stream it.
Just when I got my pants, when I got my pants undone, she stopped with that part of it. But then she was like dancing around and trying to take a stone to break up pieces of clothing to make other pieces of clothing, because apparently she wasn't wearing enough clothing, so she needed to actually take her clothing and make it into more clothing. Like Jesus with the loaves and the fishes, there's enough for everyone. She was just needed more and more garments hanging off of herself. And
at no point you were compelled to, call 311 to say, "Hey, listen, there's this batshit crazy woman downstairs going through my garbage."
What is 311 like? Is that like the van with the guys with the white shirts and the big nets that they come and take away?
That's the non-emergency line for the police.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I don't normally call the police.
Me neither.
So I wouldn't know. I actually kind of thought about it. I thought, well, here's this woman out here, and she's, as far as homeless people go, she seems very vulnerable and crazy, and it'd be very easy for someone to take advantage of her. But then I didn't do anything because I'm an American and we keep to ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And then she just suddenly disappeared. And pretty quickly, I went out and did food shopping, and I came back and she was still there, and I was like, oh, she's still there, good. And then, as quickly as she appeared, she was gone again. She was taken up.
Did you take her all her rags with her?
Yeah, she took all of her stuff with her. Mm. Like, she didn't leave any remnants. She's like the Indians. She doesn't. She
uses every piece of the garbage.
She uses every piece of the garbage. She doesn't waste any garbage. She uses every piece, and then cleans up after herself and leaves the parking lot in garbage as if in its sacrosanct state.
Joseph, what I think you actually saw the fairy godmother in her later years,
or like the like the Tooth Fairy, but
no, like the fairy godmother from like Cinderella.
Well, she was probably meth edge, so she's probably the no tooth fairy.
Oh, true. Yeah, no, she had no teeth left after all that.
The no teeth fairy.
Ugh.
I think even more than just being methed out. The only thing I have to say about her, the only reason I think she was methed out is because she was just so thin. She had that heroin, super rail thin thing going on. And I think she probably had lots of mental disorders too. But obviously. Oh
yeah. So she's tweaking her nipples outside of you, covered in garbage, going, "Feels good, feels good."
And she was, I don't think she was over 30, but she had that voice, like like a female version of Jeff. Feels good.
This garbage feels so good.
I love myself in garbage. It's good.
Garbage clothes feels good. Poor woman. Poor woman. She's probably shanghaied. She's on a boat to China right now to make iPhones for us. North Korea or something. Anyway, so that was today. There's been a lot more like homeless crazy people in Seattle in the past couple of weeks. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe you're getting ready for like a Condemned type scenario.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I should play those games again just to get myself prepared.
Oh yeah.
When I'm fighting toothless, methed up ladies, I can defend myself properly.
Get a taser.
They'll gum me to death.
Tastes good.
Tastes good.
It's real good.
Like 2 cold pieces of chicken breast gnawing at my arm.
That's horrifying.
Yes. Anyway, no one's watching. Everyone's watching the Oscars anyway tonight.
That's true.
So anyway,
that is going on.
Yeah. There's the Oscars. I don't normally watch them. So
those are the ones with the movies, right?
That's the movie ones. Yeah. Apparently, what's his face? The guy who does Family Guy is hosting. MacFarlane.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane.
Mr. McFeely, I think, is hosting. Mr. McFeely from Mr. Rogers, the mailman. He's doing that. All right, let's talk about some video games. Bob.
Yeah, what?
I hear that you play video games.
Yeah.
And I hear that this week you played some.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about the video games, Bob?
Sure.
You might as well.
Yeah, get that out of the way. I played a lot of, as I was saying, Dishonored. A lot of Dishonored.
Are you doing a no-kill?
Yeah, no kill, no alert. That's probably why it's taking so long.
The best way to experience it.
Yeah, because I'll go and explore a bunch of areas. I find, just strip the levels bare, go and steal everything that's not tied down, and go sneak around and listen to people's conversations that are going on. Because that's another big aspect of the world is listening in on people's random conversations. Because it really kind of just tells you what's going on in the world outside of your narrow view of what you're doing for a mission.
And you're using the heart to do that, correct?
No, the heart doesn't. I use the heart to pull out, but you don't actually use the heart to hear other people's conversations. Like, they'll have conversations as you get near to them.
But that's where you're wrong, Bob.
But the heart, you can use the heart with people. I've been pulling out the heart, and I've been using the heart near people and pointing at people. And I kind of like. I never noticed it would change what it said based on like pointing at someone. Sometimes it did. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it doesn't. Well, sometimes it's just like general phrases for the level and they're in the environment.
I think you find out there's secrets and like things like that. If I remember correctly.
Some. I mean, there's not many people that actually works on.
Really? I thought it worked on everybody.
Yeah, it pretty much works on everybody.
Really? Because I tried it like a lot the last time I played it, and it just kept saying the same shit over again. Even I was trying on different people.
Are you pointing it directly at them?
Yes.
Because you actually have to aim for their heart.
Oh, you have to aim for their heart?
Yeah. You got to have a heart to heart.
Yes.
Okay. That's probably what I was doing. I was just cutting to the chase, right to the pants. I gotta actually connect to them first for that.
You have to, so you need to connect.
Yeah,
with them. Like,
that's my problem. I was too gung ho.
You were just too fast about it.
Yeah,
you were just being all willy nilly is what you were doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just
uncaring, just pointing it at their feet. You have to really care about them, Bob. You have to connect your hearts together. I thought we'd been through this in our relationship. I thought we've solved these problems. I thought we'd been somewhere together.
Well, it might have meant something to you, Joseph.
Jesus. This is why I drink. This is why I drink. You drive me to drink. Our love drives me to drink. We're really failing at this video game thing today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
See, it's because we started it off with stories about
The garbage lady.
PR mishaps and the Toothless Fairy.
Yeah.
And now we're just gonna trip on through this whole thing.
Oh yeah. No, there's actually, I wanted to say some stuff about stuff that came out in Colonial Marines, but it's additional stuff. But I'll finish up Dishonored first. So I'm pretty damn sure I'm getting closer to the end, like maybe 3/4 through. It's probably going to take me another 4 hours to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm hopefully I'll be able to beat that soon, since I'm really enjoying it, and it's been a real trip playing that game. I really liked Arx Fatalis, which was the other Arcane game that they had made, which is got me really craving for a modern style Ultima Underworld game.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, first person kind of. It's like basically if you had Skyrim, but based entirely underground. Like, you know how Brad has a water boner? I have an earth boner. I really like the case.
Earth boner.
Yes.
So, I mean, Legend of Grimrock was sort of like that, but but it was more, I guess, the Legend of Grimrock was more simplistic. It's
much more dungeon. It's more like, the thing with that style of game is that it's much more like a tactical oriented, grid based dungeon crawler, and there's not that whole free movement. I'm gonna go fucking try to jump up, scale this wall on these really precarious edges and leap up into this tiny ass hole and see if I can find something fucking awesome up there.
Right.
There's not that whole kind of crawling through these caves and following all these branches into these really deeply into the mountain, maybe going through a little bit underwater sections because some of the caves have been flooded.
Yeah.
That kind of shit is just awesome because that really kind of, to me, has the real strong essence of the exploration for those types of games.
Speaking of which, they just announced officially Legend of Grimrock 2.
Oh, yes. I noticed that pretty much immediately after they announced it, since I follow them on Twitter.
Oh,
I'm fucking pumped for that shit. I guess the original additional content they were hyping is actually going to be made into a full-fledged second game.
Oh, nice. Are they continuing with the same? This is just a dungeon and monsters and loot, or are they going to expand it into something more like Ultima Underworld, where there's more of a whole world to explore? There's more.
I don't know. I think it's still going to be the same formula. They wanted to add a bunch of new monsters, a bunch of new abilities, a bunch of new classes. I think that's the point when they were like, all right, we need to just make it a new fucking game.
New thing.
Yeah. I can't imagine the formula changing very much, since you can't really derive too much from that, grid-based dungeon crawler without it being the same game. It'll be just too different. They're not even connected at that point if it turns into kind of like a free roaming world type thing. It'd be interesting to see. Actually, if they do something like if they do like a Lands of Lore style.
Lands of Lore. I think I know.
Lands of fucking Lore, dude. Really good.
Which way? Hold on. That sounds really familiar, but I'm having trouble.
Yeah, fucking Patrick Stewart did the voice acting for it.
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, he's the king. Lands of Lore.
Patrick Stewart voiced the king. That's so unlike him.
Preposterous.
Preposterous.
Yeah. It's like Lands of Lore was fucking awesome because it had a huge variety in the world. I'm pretty sure it was open world too. So you would all the areas were interconnected. It's the same style, grid-based tactical kind of combat where you have a group of 4 people and you're all positioned facing one direction. You move in a grid like that. But they had a huge variety in the environments and the monsters that you could fight. It's really, really good. The story is also really kind of cool. It's that kind of old LucasArts type animation, and I think was it published like LucasArts? It might even been.
I feel like I played this game.
You probably did. It was one of the real better kind of dungeon crawlers aside from Dungeon Keeper. Dungeon Master. Sorry, Dungeon Keeper is the RTS. Dungeon Master is the other one I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, so there's actually. Is this on GOG?
Yeah. Shit, you can totally get Lands of Lore on GOG.
Okay, maybe I'll play this on.
It's good. It's really good. I actually Dungeon Master 2 was one of my.
Played this. Okay, I have played this. You know what? But you know which one I played? I played the Throne of Chaos. Lands of Lore, the Throne of Chaos.
Yeah, I think it's the Throne of Chaos one. Let me see if...
And I know I had this because this the game cover with the witch, like that, I remember that. I remember having this game and playing this game, and I think that there's like this big-breasted woman in the game, and when I was a little kid, that was basically like pornography to me.
Oh, yes.
I was like, video games are awesome because I'm a little kid, and there's this lady with big titty, big old knockers,
big old titties.
I don't remember now, like what it was. Throne of Chaos. Throne of Chaos might have been the one. Yes, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, Guardians of Destiny was the second one that they came out with, I believe. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
that was a 3D one.
I wish I still had these games. I get sick when I think about how many games I used to own, old games, and that I just don't have anymore. Like,
I can't play them anymore. Some of that shit it only ran on like DOS.
Oh no, yeah, and that's why GOG is such a great.
Oh, I fucking love that shit. I bought so many old games, like
because they have DOSBox right there, and it's very easy, and anyone can get back into these old games. They are good. Old games is a lifesaver for gaming, I think, and old retro gaming in a lot of ways.
They just released System Shock 2.
I actually have a copy of System Shock 2. I'm going to be playing it for way back Wednesday. I don't know when. I want to play more Daikatana. Because I've been playing Daikatana for way back Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, I can talk about that later as well. But yeah, no, Lands of Lore was one of these that I had. So,
yeah,
I had so many NES games that are gone now. That just disappeared. I don't know where they went. I've put my PS1 library back together and then some, which is good. But there's still some PS1 games I used to have that I don't currently own yet. But God, so many. I had like almost every Police Quest game.
Oh yeah.
See in the box, and I know that I probably wouldn't be able to run them, but I just want to own them, just have them.
Right.
I would kill to play TIE Fighter again.
Oh yeah. Actually, I really enjoyed the the Stormtrooper game, Dark Forces.
Oh no, you can get that for PS1, I believe.
Yeah.
There was a PS1 copy of that.
Yeah, Dark Forces was great. Also, Jedi Knight was another great old Star Wars game.
Oh, I never played Jedi Knight
2. Jedi Knight 2, and those are both.
Jedi Knight 1 confused the hell out of me, but Jedi Knight 2 was a lot more straightforward and better.
Yeah, I think the Jedi Knight 2 was the one I actually ended up beating in the end. But yeah, those were great fucking games. But I'm sure Cezanne can go give you the rundown of every single Star Wars game.
He has an article about that.
Yeah.
Actually link it again.
I guess you can get the Jedi Knight games on Steam.
No, I don't know. God. So here, PC gaming. So I had all the time when I was a little kid.
They're both on Steam.
Oh, nice. I would buy games for PC and then get them home and then not have them work.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. I remember that shit.
I remember I had like 5 or 6 different PC games just sitting on my shelf when I was like 9 or 10 years old, maybe a little younger even. That I just couldn't play because my PC wasn't good enough. And one Christmas, or it was my birthday. It was my birthday, I think. My mother was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "I want more RAM for my computer. Like I want like double up the RAM because if I can get more RAM for my computer, all these games will work." So it's like me getting 6 games for my birthday. And maybe people don't remember, but back then RAM was fucking expensive.
Oh shit, yeah. Dude, you had the little SO-DIMMs, the smaller.
I don't even remember, but they were RAM was really expensive. So
it was like it was like $100 to $200 a pop.
Yeah, so getting my RAM doubled was like a good, like an expensive birthday present, you know. So my mother goes, and at this time, you didn't just do it at home, most of the time. You brought your computer into the place, and they do it. They put it in. So they probably install the RAM in like 5 seconds, and then charge you like $100 to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe you could, but I was young, and my parents weren't going to install it themselves. And I get the computer back, and the RAM is doubled, and guess what? Games still don't work. No. The worst fucking birthday.
Did you need the better graphics card, or
I don't even know. I was a little kid. I just thought, I need more RAM. I thought that was the problem, or maybe I was even getting an error message that said my computer didn't have enough RAM. But I mean, back then, error messages were they could be fucked up. Maybe it was referring to video RAM, and that was the issue. It was a graphics card.
Yeah, there was no dedicated RAM up for videos at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there was no graphics cards. It was all on the motherboard. So what I probably needed was a new motherboard with new stuff on it.
Yeah.
But my error message I was getting back was, you don't have enough RAM. And yeah.
Well, you can also, the thing is, you probably didn't know this, but you could actually change the parameters the way you boot the PC to allocate more memory in specific areas.
Right. I was 9.
Yeah, fudging around with bash files and whatnot getting the... Yeah, there's something you probably didn't know how to do or could do at 9.
Probably.
But I remember having to do that to get Wing Commander to work.
Oh, yeah. Wing Commander was a huge resource hog when it came out. I mean, it was multiple gigabytes, which is just unheard of almost. Yeah. You know? So...
Oh, man, I remember Wing Commander. Wing Commander was fucking awesome. We diverged. What were that?
We were talking about the Toothless Fairy.
Yes.
And how she would make a great monster in Lands of Lore.
Ooh.
You'd have to fight. In fact, you know what? Looking at the cover of Lands of Lore, Throne of Chaos, that actually might be
her. Yeah.
Yeah. The Throne of that might be her right there. She's reaching out.
I need titties and nipples. It feels so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I really hope that the Legend of Grimrock 2 goes the direction of Lands of Lore, because that was by far stood out in the most, because it was the most dynamic game in that genre, because it had such a huge variety of monsters and areas that you could go to, and it was a seamless, mostly seamless world. So there were like kind of parts that you would jump to. I think in some of the story you jump ahead to another part that wasn't connected to the other world, but there was, for the most part, it was like you wandered through the world and adventured on. It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we were talking about Dishonored, I think, and then this happened.
Yeah, I think we talked about the news. So anything other than Dishonored, I've been playing. I played a little bit of the Blops 2 free weekend.
Oh, yeah. So I saw you tweeting about that, so I guess have you had problems with Blops in the past?
I never actually played I never played Blops before. This is when I was purely based off my experiences with playing Blops with Carlos on a console, right. And I've pretty much decided that I am just bad at console first-person shooters, competitive first-person shooters.
Right.
So it's just I cut my teeth on Doom.
Yeah.
I played Quake with mouse look, Quake 2 with mouse look. Spent a lot of time at Quake 2. Spent a lot of fucking time on Unreal Tournament. So it's just playing it on PC. I was actually good at it, and I could be competitive. Like my only holdback from Blops 2 was that I just didn't know the weapons. I didn't know the maps. Like that's the only thing that was really keeping me back, and that's something I could easily overcome with just experience. Mm-hmm. But it's a first-person shooter. It's really not doing a lot of different than I was playing in 1990.
If you're not into sort of the, like you said, if you're not into the idea of a competitive shooter like that, I mean that's what it is. Yeah. You know, it's a one-trick pony that does that trick very, very well.
Oh yeah, it's definitely very well polished. It's fun to play. Mm-hmm. But I see it as kind of like being how people were really into Quake when it came out, or were really into Quake 2, or really into Half-Life 2, or specifically Counter-Strike. Yeah. Like, it's just another variety of that. It's like people who are really into like in tennis or something. It's like basically at this point it's a very refined rule set for like this the first person shooter kind of category, and you can't really deviate too far from it without breaking that concept of being like a first person shooter.
I think when you deviate with subtleties. Like for instance, there's Counter-Strike is arguably a lot more not tactile, tactical. It's a much more tactical game than something like Blops. I mean, you have one life. You're dealing with objective-based gameplay. Right. I know what you're saying, but I think when you get down to the subtleties like that, it actually does kind of make a big difference. Like playing Counter-Strike feels completely different than playing something like Modern Warfare or
Absolutely, yeah. And those are the little subtleties that make you have it feel different. For someone that doesn't play a lot of first-person shooters, or who already has been through that phase and just doesn't really care about first-person shooters anymore, it all looks and feels the same.
Yeah.
So I can see why people would, be really excited about, the next Call of Duty or the next, Battlefield. But to me, it really does feel like, oh, this again. Like, I'll enjoy it for a couple hours, but I'm not going to fucking pick it up again. I don't have time for that anymore. If I played it back when I was in college, I might have really enjoyed it. But now, can't be arsed.
Yeah. Sorry. Someone just put a link in the chat. I'm just looking at it really quick.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to bring up.
Let's look at the Sega thing. Yeah,
this is the Sega thing with Colonial Marines.
Let me set this up really quick. So someone who did it, Eric1993, is watching us live over at 4pp.tv and just put a article into chat from site VG247. And there's been rumblings of this before, and I think Destructoid had a piece on this as well.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
But it's coming out that there's a possibility that Gearbox pretty much got Sega to be giving them money that they then used mostly to make Borderlands 2 and Duke Nukem Forever while they were
1 and 2, because they've been developing it for a really long time.
While they were, in essence, I guess, outsourcing the work for Colonial Marines, which was the game that Sega thought they were paying for, to another company, Timegate. And, I've been saying this for a little while now, but that there would most certainly be some sort of litigation out of this whole thing. But that was before even this stuff happened. I think if this has any truth and merit to it, that Gearbox is going to be in big trouble. At least financially responsible for a lot of that money that Sega gave them. I don't know. What do you think, Bob?
Oh yeah, I mean that's just bad business. Like, why the fuck would you delay a contract for that many years in favor of, like, they basically, I think they released 3 games in the span of when Sega announced that they were giving the IP to Gearbox to make a game.
Yeah, that's true.
And then when it finally came out. So that's 3 games of your own that you funded and put out, while Sega sat on the sidelines going, where's our fucking game?
Yeah.
What are we paying you for? And they they canceled it once and then brought it back. And that just really sounds like those are facts. Like, this is not just hearsay. Like, it took them a long time to develop a game they were being paid for, that they said they were going to be working on full time, or at least to have a large staff on, and they released 3 other games in the meantime.
So this is actually from a Sega insider. Sega employee who says,
or an insider that knows the Sega stuff. I don't know.
Right. And he's quoted as saying, Gearbox stole from Sega. They robbed us, lied to us about the game, and tried to get another company to make the game instead. Pitchford and Gearbox wanted to focus heavily on Duke Nukem Forever, but how would they get the money to hire some of the 3D Realms team and even buy the intellectual property? Sure, they made a lot from Borderlands, but guess where they got the money to fund Borderlands in the first place? Sega. So Gearbox essentially, and I'm quoting again from this article, so Gearbox essentially lied to Sega, mishandled funds, broke agreements and contractual obligations to work on other projects, didn't want to work on a game they were actually contractually obligated to work on, and gave it to another team. Poor organization, direction on Aliens, Colonial Marines, took on too many projects from different companies at once, and other things that we may know about. Hell, part of me believes that Gearbox wanted this thing delayed as much as possible so they can get more funding money to embezzle from Sega. I guess embezzle is a pretty loaded word.
Oh yeah, those are fighting words.
Yeah, and this is only one person saying this, but it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and it's pretty standard practice for a smaller studio, or just any studio in general, to take on contracts to make an extra money so they can actually develop the games they want, their own original IP on the side. Right. But setting aside a contract for 6 or 7 years, maybe even longer, to work on your own games and push 3 of them out in the span where you're trying to work on this one game, that's really bad management. That's really bad business.
Yeah, I don't see. It almost seems too dumb to even try to do.
Yeah. I have a feeling I have a feeling it wasn't intentional to begin with. I think
Who published Borderlands 2? That wasn't Sega, was it? No.
I think it was Ubisoft.
So Ubisoft did.
Let's see.
So, but wouldn't wouldn't Ubisoft have been paying Gearbox to develop Borderlands 2?
2K Games published Borderlands.
Or 2K. Wouldn't 2K Games have been giving Gearbox money to be developing Borderlands 2? I mean, was it just not enough, and they were
I don't know,
padding things with the money from Sega? It just seems strange.
Yeah, it seems really weird. I think like I can easily see how you would fall down that hole of being like, oh, we got this licensed product we need to work on, we'll put people on there, but then it's like, well, we also are trying to build our own game, and God, we're so close to doing it, and we really need to be able to push this out. Otherwise we're never going to get it done. So you just try allocating more people into your own project. It gets out and ships, yay! It's like, well, fuck, we got to start working on a sequel, and still hit while the iron's hot. So let's get people working on a sequel, and then it's like, well, shit, we either have to, publish both games at the same time or delay one, and we're already on a timetable for the hype and publicity for our sequel. So let's get this shit out of the door, and then go back to the working on the contract. Like I can see, like that is the very kind of benevolent way of looking at it.
Right.
Like there could have definitely been more sinister motives behind it, but you don't know. We'll probably never know.
Yeah.
It seems like it was just a project that began with the simplest of intentions.
Yeah.
But then they just started digging their own hole and never came out of it. They forgot the ladder.
Yeah. I mean, I find it hard to believe that Gearbox was quote unquote embezzling money. I don't think they're dumb enough to think they can get away with something like that.
No.
It's obvious, if you were trying to do that. I don't think that was it. I just think that the project was so badly managed.
I think it's funny they almost published basically 2 Duke Nukems Forevers.
Basically, yeah. And honestly, I don't believe they were throwing that much money into Duke Nukem Forever.
No.
Because a lot of that game was already produced by 3D Realms.
Yeah, the amount of time it took them from acquiring the IP to announcing its launch and then shipping it, I think it was within a year, if that.
Yeah, Gearbox just sort of patched that thing together.
Oh yeah,
all they did was they patched it together and they did the multiplayer, and that was it.
And if you played that multiplayer, there wasn't a lot of work put into that, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Even though Randy Pitchford will tell you that Duke Nukem Forever is awesome.
That's the thing though about Pitchford. I mean, he's basically the Peter Molyneux of Texas.
He's sort of, yeah. But I think I almost think he's worse. Yeah, Peter Molyneux will admit when he's made mistakes or he's unsatisfied with the product.
No. Peter Molyneux will admit when he has mistakes, when he made mistakes, and when he has problems with the product, long after the game is actually released.
I know that, but I mean, Randy Pitchford doesn't even do it then.
No, he's not doing it yet.
He's still trying to say that Duke Nukem Forever is awesome.
So in about 4 months from now, Chris, you're going to look outside your apartment. Randy Pitchford's going to be going through your garbage, rubbing his nipples and going, it feels good!
Yeah. His black felt jacket in tatters.
Meanwhile, probably put on different scraps of other jackets on top of it.
Yes, his other felt jackets on top of it.
He's searching for felt. I need felt to create my jacket. Whoa!
No, this report from this supposed Sega person, it's just more evidence and that we need to have a proper post-mortem for this game. We need to know what the fuck happened officially.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they'll ever do that. I can't see them ever, especially now, if there's going to be legal implications, the last thing they want to do is put anything on paper and write anything down.
Absolutely.
Well, right now, the lawyers are telling them, don't say a goddamn thing, don't write anything down. They probably have a moratorium on emails about it right now because all emails in the company can be subpoenaed if this goes down in litigation. Like anything, they'll go through their servers, and anything that even says Aliens, Colonial Marines will get subpoenaed. So right now, everything is being done through phone calls and meetings, and nothing written down. I can guarantee you.
Well, they according to the blog post by the guy, they say litigation probably won't happen based on how the contract was written.
Right.
Because evidently, all Gearbox was obligated to do was to actually ship the product,
Not develop,
regardless of quality.
but not develop it.
No, that wasn't written in there.
Yeah.
I mean, just ship. They never said develop. So that's, well, there you go.
Yeah, I think it was just a poorly written contract that gave them way too much freedom on.
Which really kind of comes down to Sega. I mean, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly not the victim here. They did something stupid as well.
Well, they managed Gearbox horribly, I think.
I mean, they shouldn't. I mean, one of their biggest problems was that they announced the game way too fucking early, before pre-production had begun.
Right.
That's incredibly stupid. You know, you announce a game between 9 and 18 months before its actual release. You don't wait fucking 6 years.
7 years.
Yeah,
that's a bit long.
Oh God. Well, speaking of Aliens, Colonial Marines, did you say you had mentioned, Bob, that you had some stuff about it you wanted to say?
I mean, that was it. We already covered it.
Okay. Well, then I'll just play this. Then I'll just play this right now.
Every time I hear that, I just imagine Carlos is playing the saxophone.
and there's a lone tear coming down.
During the high note, you can see it roll down his cheek.
Right, the camera zooms into his the tear.
You know, Sega is 3 for 3 on this terrible trend of Aliens games. I have to wonder how long is it going to take before Fox takes the license away from them.
I think as long as it makes money, Fox doesn't care. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Fox really cares about Aliens as a property. Let's be honest. They don't give a shit.
Outside of like movies and whatnot, they don't really aren't really caring about it. Like they may be like, oh, we'll just fucking put a video game and slap the Aliens thing on it. We'll get some money out of it. Yay!
I mean, Fox is such a big corporation.
Yeah.
I mean, you're including Fox News, Fox Daytime stuff, movie properties. You know, they don't give a fuck about Aliens, Colonial Marines. They don't care.
Why the fuck won't they just revoke the license from Sega and give it to like fucking Bethesda? You know,
because Bethesda, no. Bethesda is not. I love Bethesda, but they do not have the technical prowess to make something like an Aliens game. No, let's be honest.
No, I mean I'm talking about the publisher, not the developer. I'm saying.
So ZeniMax. Let's give it to ZeniMax.
Yeah, ZeniMax. Sorry, ZeniMax. So let ZeniMax have it, and give it to a team of id developers, and have them, build an EdTech 5 version of Aliens.
John Carmack can make a good Aliens game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he could do it. If anyone can make an Aliens game, it's John Carmack can do it. Yes, he has the technical prowess. They know about atmosphere just from the Doom games. I mean, let's be honest, Doom 3 on the Xbox, the original Xbox, looks better than Aliens Colonial Marines on the Xbox 360.
And they already have experience in doing like the complex animations that you have to do for the aliens. I mean,
they're animation masters.
Yeah, look at the mutants in Rage. How they're just climbing on the walls and the fucking ceiling, just fucking running at you.
Right, and ZeniMax could do that on that property because they work with ID. So
and imagine that with the Oculus Rift.
Oh God, yes.
Prepare to ship.
Of course, I'm starting to run out of. I'm having trouble finding games that would not be good with the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, I mean, who's bringing it up? Like, I think it might have been God, I forget who brought it up on Twitter. Was how do you get the attention of someone who's playing a game with the Oculus Rift without making them flip their shit?
You say their name.
No, but they can't hear you.
Yeah, well, they can't hear you, and they're playing Aliens Colonial Marines.
You throw something at them.
Yeah. There has to be, like we said this before, there has to be some sort of a button.
Yeah.
You could press that makes a little light go off in their
beep,
headset.
Boop, boop. Yep.
Like you want the girlfriend wants sex or something, And
Yeah, I mean, if Tara was to run in there and grab my balls, I might punch her just out of terror.
Well, you're just abusive anyways. You're just looking for an excuse to punch her.
No. Even though I had a girlfriend that asked me to punch her, I did not.
Oh, you had a girlfriend that asked you to punch her?
I think we talked about this.
I think you did. It was a sexual thing.
Yeah, it was a sexual thing.
I had a girlfriend like that too.
It's fucking weird. It's weird when a girl asks you during sex, like, yeah, punch me, hit me in the face. It's like, no, I don't want to do that.
That's not something. That wouldn't improve my sexual experience. In fact,
no, not at all.
That would make me lose interest at that point.
Yeah,
like a little like hair pulling and choking is okay.
Yeah,
but
how we're like open hands, like brr!
Punching is not going to work.
It's not in my nature. I'm not even going to do that during sex. It's fuck no.
Yeah,
fuck no.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you play, Bob? Or
yeah, Dead Space 3.
Oh yes. What do you think of Dead Space 3?
So far I've been enjoying it, but the thing is, like, the one thing I really noticed so far, outside of there not being any power nodes, and I haven't really gotten too far into it. I think I've gotten to I'm in the first space section where you get to the ship. Where you get into the moon planet thing you're going to. So it's maybe like 45 minutes in. But one thing I really noticed so far is there's no break to the action.
There is not.
Yeah, it's kind of
a big problem with this because with horror games, you need to have those lulls to scare the shit out of you when they actually crank up the fears. Like with Dead Space 2, going back to the Ishimura, like seeing the Ishimura and Dead Space 2 and going in there and having nothing fucking happen until you get to like the middle of it, like when you start the drive again. It was suspenseful that entire fucking time because you spent a lot of time in the Ishimura in Dead Space 1. That was the only environment. So you're going through the ship, recognizing old areas and recognizing all of them, and you're just like, oh man, oh fuck, I remember when something came out of that hole, and you're like, oh shit. And sometimes they'll have like hallucinations where the tentacle comes out and grabs them, and then like it just goes away, and it's like, what the fuck was going on? And it's
the decontamination room.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh god! Like when you first, like, because you're waiting for something to come out, you're like, oh shit, I remember this. Like, oh man, I know. You're just sitting there waiting, and nothing happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh god, the suspense just builds. But with this game, it's just like action, explosions, dude with guns, and there's no break in the action to build that suspense back up.
No, and for that matter, you are rarely actually fucking stalked by the necromancers.
Yeah.
You're not walking along and there's a light source behind you. All of a sudden, you see a necromorph shadow pass behind you. It's nothing like that.
Yeah, it's like we said a few weeks ago. Like Dead Space 3 is not anything even remotely close to a horror game or a suspenseful game. It's a straight action title through and through.
Yeah, it's decent game, but it's not a Dead Space game.
No, yeah,
that's sad.
There's a measure of scare in having you constantly on your toes, expecting necromorph attacks, but that's not the kind of experience I want.
Desensitizing, because you get used to the all right, next necromorph, next unitologist, next guy. I'm going to go into this room. There's going to be guys. There's none of this like suspense of like, oh, is there going to be guys in there, or is there not going to be there? I don't know. It's the whole.
Well, it's true. It's every room is just kind of the same thing ad nauseum happening over and over again, to the point where when I would enter a room, I'd actually look for the vents, so I'd know where the monsters are going to be coming from.
Yep.
It's like, okay, there's a vent on the wall over there, and there's one over there. So I know that as soon as a couple of seconds into being in this room, that's where the monsters are going to come from. And that happens in every single room is nothing more than a set piece for you to shoot stuff.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. It's still fun to play. I'll probably continue to play it. But yeah, it's a little disappointing. I was expecting it to be a little more suspenseful horror.
Well, if you want a co-op partner, I'm more than willing.
Yeah, you need an online pass though. I got this from Gamefly. Right? Yeah, online pass for co-op?
Yes, you do.
I think so, yeah.
You do.
It gives me the option for co-op, even without the pass, but I haven't tried it.
Might prompt you for it as soon as you activate it.
Probably that's probably exactly what would go. It'd be like, oh, you should buy an online pass. No,
for me, it was. I mean, I wrote the review. I gave it an 80 out of 100. It's a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, probably one of the most disappointing aspects of the game is the lack of psychological horror for Isaac.
Oh, really? They cut that down a lot?
Yeah, they cut it down fucking significantly. I mean, Nicole is not in the game at all.
Oh, really? I haven't finished the game yet, so...
Well, that's the thing. Like, with Dead Space 2, you actually come to a resolution with the whole Nicole scenario.
Yeah.
So you kind of resolve that. Yeah.
I just figured that in being close proximity to markers and, the necromorph infestation, she might reemerge somehow.
Yeah.
But she's not in the game at all. And that aspect of horror transfers to Carter, your co-op partner.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's really well done when you play the co-op as Carter. But I wish it was more for Isaac as well.
Because you don't get that experience at all when you're playing single player.
That's so weird.
Well, especially considering that Isaac is the one who's supposed to be fucked up,
right?
and it's not like he'd be less fucked up now. He should be getting progressively more and more fucked up.
Yeah, that's.
And they kind of tease that in the section you're in right now, Bob. You'll get to a spot and he'll kind of have a bit of a moment, but it's a cinematic thing. It's not really in player control.
Wait, was it a heart moment? Because I was looking at his feet. I might have completely missed it.
No, it's a scripted moment.
Sorry, let's call back to it early.
It was he did a little. Bob just did a little. Bob did a little thing.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah,
a little thing he just did.
I'm too tired to catch this. But it's not implemented later in the game, unfortunately.
That's sad. No, I'll probably play it. I might end up keeping it from GameFly. We'll see. Just because I like the guns, I like the style of gameplay. But that's the other thing. I'm playing on hard, which there's way too many health packs.
Yeah, hard is practically normal or easy for that matter for a Dead Space veteran.
Yeah, I was thinking of cranking it up to impossible, but I actually want to beat the game.
I'm doing my second playthrough on impossible. So
yeah.
I've been playing on normal, and like I said before, I'm swimming in health packs and ammo.
Yeah, it's like I was walking.
I'm dropping health packs on the ground just to make room in my inventory for stuff.
Oh yeah, no. Basically, in the first section I played, it was just like health pack, ammo, health pack of every fucking enemy, and there's a lot. To the point where my entire inventory is like half health packs, half ammunition.
Yeah, that's mine too.
It's brimming, and it's just like I'm never gonna have an issue here.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the first game and the second game, I actually had problems running low on health. I would have to actually purchase them because it was just like shit. I don't have any more.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I've said before, I actually almost have to redo my first playthrough of Dead Space because I fucked up my character by investing in too many different skills. So I'm I can do everything, but I'm not really good at any one thing, and I sort of hobbled my character that way. And there's literally no way to hobble your character in Dead Space 3 because it's simply just not that type of game. It's not about inventory management. It's not about survival horror in that old school Resident Evil sort of way. It's not about I better run away from these creatures because I need to conserve my ammo for this later part of the game. It's about shoot everything and blow everything up. Luckily, that aspect of the game is actually fun and it's well done. It's just not Dead Space like we know.
And the story's still Dead Space 2. Don't get me wrong with that. It's still interesting. It's got its hooks in me. I'm like interested to figure out what's going on with the markers and everything like that. It's just the rest of the game outside of just it being the same mechanics and similar enemies is just not the same kind of atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same kind of style of game with the really creepy quiet sequences, which are kind of required for horror, as I mentioned previously, but it's still enjoyable, and I'll probably end up beating it because it's a Dead Space game. It's fun.
Yeah, get under your wing.
Yeah,
cool.
You need to play Dead Space 1 and beat it. It's a good game.
I will. I played most of it. I just need to finish it and maybe start again.
Just start over. I would just start over because it's been probably really long since you last played it.
It has been. So, all right, let's take a quick break. And we'll be back in about 5 minutes. You're watching Cocktail Time live on 4Player Network.
I'm ready.
Cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. You're watching Cocktail Time live here at 4Player Network. Thanks everybody who's watching home over at 4pp.tv. Especially thanks to our subscribers watching at home at 4pp.tv right now. People like Strikeblade, people like Victus Sudus. Our subscribers really help us keep what we do here online. And if you like what we do here at 4Player Network, we ask that you subscribe as well. It's $4.99 a month. And you'll get ad-free stuff, and you can become a subscriber of the month, where we play the game you choose and do a special podcast for you. And a bunch of other stuff as well. And luckily, we've I guess Bob has completed doing the Twitch integration.
Yes.
With the website to Twitch TV, which means that when you come to 4Player Network, after we turn this on, the site will know that you're a subscriber, so it'll remove ads from the site and a bunch of other stuff. I guess I'm oversimplifying this, Bob, right?
A little bit.
Well, my technical sense. Why don't you explain it?
Well, when you when we deploy it, which I'm hopefully going to be doing soon, probably tomorrow, when you log into our site, you still need a site account. There'll be a button that appears on the top saying connect with Twitch. You click that. What it'll do is it will go to it'll redirect you to the Twitch site. You sign in with your Twitch account, and it'll say, "Oh, do you want to allow 4Player to see your email?" And I think that's it. Then you click yes, and then we get to connect your account on Twitch to our server, our account on there, and we can see if you're a subscriber by using their API and polling their servers and saying, "Hey, is this person a subscriber?" And then it'll come back and say yes or no, and then it'll actually flag you in our database as being a subscriber or not, and we can use that on our end to see to like do things like, oh, well, you can't vote on a subscriber only poll, or you shouldn't be able to see ads, stuff like that. And I think we are adding more and more features moving forward. I think we're planning on a couple of new features that maybe they'll be open to everybody, but there are certain functionality in the features that will be subscriber only.
Right, and I think Brad on Thursday is doing a subscriber open game night again, and this will be one of the first ones where we'll actually have the polls for pass or play. We'll actually only be able to be accessed by subscribers. Yep. So I think we usually for subscriber open game night, we've done the voting inside a chat by making chat subscriber only, and then the mods would have to like count how many. Now we're able to, the subscribers will
Let's
Ghetto. They'll actually go to the poll and access that. So make things easier. So it should be fun.
Yes.
And other stuff going on.
Yes. So I did forget about one last game that I played.
Oh,
real quick.
Okay, Sure, go for it.
It was a Kinect game.
Ah, well, this is important.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
I thought you were playing Kinect games recently. What up?
No. This last Friday, since it was my birthday, I decided not to play any Kinect games because I basically didn't have any castable Kinect games. The one Kinect game I did have was, I think it's called Nike Cross Training for Kinect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a personal trainer with a Kinect.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying it out, and holy fuck, does it kick your ass.
Really? Is it actually give you a good workout?
Oh, yeah. No, it's like a legitimate workout.
Wow.
It has you doing a lot of different, really kind of a lot of core muscle strengthening, a lot of endurance, and it's done really well for being on the Kinect, and it is really fucking exhausting. It's really bad. Like I actually I did like a 40 to 50 minute workout with it yesterday, and it's brutal. It's really brutal. It's a good like if you don't if you need like a bit more motivation for working out and you have a Kinect, I would absolutely recommend it. It's it's not a game,
right? The Nike, I know what you're talking about. It's one of the things that we saw at at last E3 during the Ubisoft conference. I think it's an Ubisoft game, right? Isn't it? I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Was it the Ubisoft? I thought it was. I think we saw it twice. We saw it at both the Ubisoft press conference and also at the Microsoft press conference. And it actually looked pretty decent to me. It was one of those few Kinect titles I would have been somewhat interested in if I owned a Kinect.
Definitely, I got it from GameFly, and it's decent. It's I wouldn't say it's fun, but it's for really basic workout stuff, like especially if you're doing want to do a lot of core muscle strengthening. It's really good for that.
Right.
Like it's not gonna. There are like down DLC packs you can do for like more workouts. I don't know. I'm doing like strength training with it, but it has yet to get me to like actually lift any weights. Like I have free weights here I could use, but it's not like go lift your weights.
Right. So are you trying to buff yourself up for PAX East?
Not necessarily buff myself up, just get myself more healthy.
We are. I mean, we can announce that we are in fact going.
Yes.
To PAX East. I got my plane tickets.
A lot of us are going.
I'll be arriving in Boston at 8 a.m. on Thursday, March 21st.
Yes.
And,
I might be arriving later in the day. It's going to depend whether I actually have to work Thursday or not. Because the week before is spring break for the college, and therefore I don't work, and I lose half a paycheck.
Good. So you want to try to get as much in as possible.
Fuck yes, because I like money, and I want to stay in my apartment.
Money is good, and staying in your apartment is good as well.
Yeah.
So it should be good. We have 6 people from the site going, which is a lot of people to be covering this, which is, I guess, good, because apparently I haven't been to PAX East yet, but I hear it's pretty big, so everybody will have their assignments.
Yeah. It's going to be, it's a lot of fun. I really like that convention center. It's my preferred convention center over the Seattle one. It's laid out much nicer.
Yeah. I think the list is myself, Bob, Chris Davis, Nick, Brad, Jeff. Am I missing one? That's 5.
That's 6.
That's 6?
Yeah, 6.
6, okay. Counting is hard.
Counting, it feels so good.
So that's how many of us are going. I haven't heard Brad say whether he was definitively going or not.
He doesn't know at this point. We're actually meeting after the podcast on Tuesday to discuss it.
Okay. So maybe not Brad.
Yeah,
but definitely the rest of us. So it should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm actually having really weird dreams about conventions recently, and there was one I specifically remember one dream about the awkward bed situation we're going to have.
Well, usually the way it works is I sleep with Nick, and
I specifically remember having to snuggle with Chris.
We don't care what anyone else does because we have each other. And really, when Nick and I get into bed together, the world just sort of melts away, and it's just us.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm not spooning with Brad.
You don't want to.
Let alone grinding with Brad.
Which he should do more of that.
Yeah.
Or more than God.
No, I'm actually looking at Amazon right now for a sleeping bag.
Actually, one of the and who says it? Where was it? Zlatko the Drunk, a subscriber at 4PP.tv, said it's because you're both short. And actually, that's actually the reason. Because
you fit. It's like Big Spoon, Little Spoon. Yeah, if it was me, I would be cradling Joseph.
Right. I don't think I want to sleep with you because I don't want to get beaten up.
Oh, it's true. I have
heard about this.
Yeah.
The
thing is, no, Joseph. See, the safest place in the bed is with me in the bed.
Oh,
so
is it?
I don't beat up Tara.
So you get up and you fly through the apartment, fists swinging through the air wildly.
Yeah. Well, no.
While you're naked, of course.
No, I usually throw my pillow. As the normal thing normal for
why? What happens in your dream? Is this a dream that makes? And I know we've had this conversation, but I'm actually kind of fascinated with the fact that you get all like Street Fighter when you're asleep. So you throw your pillow. Is there a bad dream, like someone is coming to do something bad to you or something bad to Tara?
No, there's no.
You go into protection mode.
No.
You just wake up and
I wake up and I go, dude, where's my fucking pillow? And I try to steal Tara's pillow.
Oh, but your pillow you'd thrown your pillow.
Yeah, but I don't know that.
You don't know that?
No, I usually don't wake up until like midway through it or a little bit afterwards. I'll wake up, sitting straight up and going like, why is the light on? Where the fuck is my pillow? No, it's not Tara. It doesn't happen very often. It only really happens when I'm like really stressed out and haven't been sleeping well.
Right. So it's sort of like night terrors, but night pillow.
Yeah, night terrors are a little different because I think you're just like inconsolable, like freaked out. Like mine is more like I think I have a problem with the neurotransmitter that stops your muscles from moving. So it's not. I don't sleepwalk, but I will actually like open my eyes and when I'm asleep, and then see something that's like a dark shape on the wall or something. This is as much as I can assume, and then I'll go, oh shit, monsters, and like throw my pillow at it.
I see.
Or I'll hear something in my sleep and go fuck, and like try to run out of the room, like throw my bicycle across the room and run into the hall half naked, only to realize it was just my roommate coming in it.
Right.
But it's weird because they also get the other way around, where the neurotransmitter it doesn't stop being produced, so I'll actually have sleep paralysis.
So it's one way or the other for you.
I'm conscious, but unable to move.
That's kind of frightening.
It's fucking weird.
I used to sleepwalk when I was a little kid.
Yeah,
but I haven't done it not since I became a teenager. My mother told me this one story where she got up one day and I was like 6 or 7 years old, and she woke up and it was 4 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning, and she woke up and she went into the living room, and there I was standing in front of the door, completely dressed for school in my little school uniform, with my book bag, just standing there in front of the door. And she goes, she called me Joey. She's like, Joey, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going to school or something, and she had to bring me back to bed and undress me, but,
I've had that too.
Scene.
For me, the 2 times it happened when I was a kid, I distinctly I vaguely remember getting up out of bed really unhappy, and then it was basically like a dream. Like I dreamed I got up and I walked into the hallway, threw up, walked in my parents' bedroom, threw up, and then that's all I remembered. Like it was just like, oh, that was a really weird fucking dream. I wake up in the morning, turns out it was true.
Oh wow!
And the other dream I had is I sat up in the middle of the night, looked over because I was a bunk bed. I might have told the story. Me and my twin brother, we had bunk beds, and I was on the top bunk bed, and I sat up, turned over, and looked over the bed, and I just saw a pair of pants on the ground. And then that was my dream. And I woke up the next morning, and I was like, why does it smell like vomit? It's apparently I had, sat up and then vomited down off the top bunk, down below, into a pair of pants and all over the floor. So wow. I don't sleepwalk, but I'll sleep vomit, apparently. Well,
you'll sleep vomit. So, yeah, I don't want to sleep in the same room with you at all.
Especially maybe cocktail time.
We should probably bring a cage, like a dog cage, and then
kennel. Like keep me in a fucking kennel.
A kennel, yeah, and we'll put you in there at night and lock it, and so we know we're all safe.
No,
I would just appreciate it, since I'll be using a sleeping bag because I don't want to be spooned. That you don't wake up in the middle of the night, walk over to the sleeping bag, and decide to throw up.
Right. Yeah. That happened. Something like that happened to my bassist. We were on tour once, and we did a show, and then we crashed at somebody's house, and there was this big house party. And we were sleeping in the living room / kitchen area, and he wakes up at 3 a.m. to some drunk guy pissing on him.
Oh yeah. That's the classic dorm story.
Yeah. And I guess the guy was trying to go outside to piss, but was drunk, and then decided just to piss. And there was Seth underneath him, and you
look like you needed a shower.
We were going to write a song called Pissed Off, Pissed On. that event.
Well, but you think Pissed On, Pissed Off would have been a better...
Pissed On, Pissed Off would be good,
more appropriate.
But you had said that you had dreams about conventions, but you didn't say that.
Yeah, weird dreams about conventions. I've been having more recently. Mostly, the one I had this morning was basically oh shit, what day is it? I missed an entire day of the convention.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Then there was one maybe a week or two ago where it must have been one of the beds was claimed, so I had to go spoon with Chris Davis on the other bed. There's been ones where the conventions are in a really weird location, and so I'm trying to find the convention.
Right.
Weird, little anxiety dreams. I guess borderline anxiety. I don't know.
Yeah. Kind of like those.
I'm not a very anxious person.
Right, like those school dreams when you're trying to find your classroom and you can't find it, and you're being late, and those classic school dreams type of stuff.
Yeah, it's really weird. I just keep dreaming of okay, why are the Penny Arcade guys here? What the fuck is going on? Am I at a convention? Did I miss the convention? What day is it? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Monday.
I can't wait. It's kind of around this time of the year where. It's been a while since E3, and even further since regular PAX Prime, and I start really getting the itch for convention stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. We're gonna be hitting the town in Boston.
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 I know we have Jeff to kind of show us around. I keep forgetting he lives there.
Yeah,
You know,
it does. I lived there for a while. I lived there for about 4 years.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you lived there for 4 years. Okay, well that.
I was out there when the New England Patriots won the Super Bowl, and I was out there when the Red Sox won the World Series.
That means nothing.
Lots of riots.
Is that a game of some sort? Is that a match? Is there a match in?
It's the stick ball, right?
Is that a match in points?
Involves the ball and probably carrying or throwing it around, and
Usually, yes.
Yes.
Some sort of. There's a movement of balls throughout a specified area, sometimes called a field or an area for the balls.
okay.
Yeah.
Ball zone.
And there's a World Series, I guess, where there's multiple countries involved.
Oh yeah, they all want to get their balls in there.
And they don't want to get their balls involved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of some kind of weird porno. We're not a porn site though.
Not a porn site. I don't know.
No.
Chris, I want to hear about Crysis 3.
Yes, do tell.
Well, I can probably tell you about Crysis 3.
Because here's my thing about Crysis 3. I always love the idea of Crysis, but when you play it, it's hard for me to really get into it. Like, it sounds like it should be so great. And then, I don't know, I start playing it, and it just doesn't grab me. I don't know. Am I missing something?
I don't know what's not grabbing you that you're expecting more of.
I guess I feel like I'm supposed to be the super soldier. But
You are.
I never feel very super.
Sounds like a personal problem.
So in Crysis 2, I spent most of my time stealthily avoiding people.
Yeah.
And I like stealth games. But I always felt I was avoiding them stealthily because I needed to survive, not because I was being a badass toying with my enemies. You know what I mean?
You basically want to be the predator, right?
I was stealthing for necessity, not because I just felt like stealthing. And if I didn't stealth, then I had a very difficult fight ahead of me. I'm supposed to be this big old super soldier, and I just never feel that super.
Well, considering that this is one of the few games that actually makes you fucking feel like a super soldier, as compared to like Halo or any number of games.
Well, Halo, you never feel super because you're supposed to be a super soldier, and then you're being killed by this little thing going.
I assume that's a grunt, but yeah.
Yes, that would be a grunt. Like, you're supposed to be this badass. I'm badass Master Chief. Don't fuck with me. I'll kick your ass. Badass Master Chief Cortana. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. And all of a sudden I'm dead. I'm like, what the fuck? And then like,
I'm thirsty for the food nipple. Yes.
Yeah.
Feels good.
But that's my problem with Halo in a nutshell. So Crysis isn't that bad, but it still feels kind of like that.
Oh yeah, I really don't know how to market the game to you to where you'll change your mind, but because Crysis 3 it's roughly 90% the same in comparison to Crysis 2.
Okay.
You've got the same suit powers, just marginally adjusted. There is still a strong emphasis on stealth. Mm-hmm. If you find yourself in an engagement, if you're not careful and you don't plan for it, you're probably going to die.
But you're not that super. You know what I mean? Like, you're not that super.
Well, also considering the enemies that you're fighting, these alien beings and their fucking tanks and all sorts of things, you are a lot more durable than standard soldiers.
I get. You know what? It's also the fact that I think fighting the aliens in Crysis is my least favorite part of Crysis.
They've put in some effort to make the aliens a little bit better this time around. I mean, they look
like energy drinks with like calamari coming out of the tops of them.
And although the calamari part is actually kind of accurate because they're the Ceph. They're a cephalopod alien race, so no bone structure.
Delicious.
And tentacle.
Delicious.
Which, by the way, they actually fucking attempt to build a much bigger backstory to the Ceph and things like that in Crysis 3, which thank God they're finally doing, considering they've been in the series since the day one.
Right.
But no, they try to change them up this time around. There's these new ones called Stalkers, which they're supposedly these Ceph that have gone wild and rogue. And they're kind of like raptors in a way.
Roguish cuttlefish.
Roguish cuttlefish velociraptors.
Oh, see, now you're talking my language.
That will fuck your shit up. The first time you're introduced to them, you're in this train yard early on in the game, and there's just tall, over your height grass in the area. And you encounter them, and it's basically that scene from The Lost World, in which all the soldiers are screaming, running away from the T-Rex, and they run into the long grass, and the raptors just jump on them and just annihilate them.
Okay.
Basic same premise, except these are metallic armor-wearing raptors with, 8-inch long claws, and they give zero fuck about you,
right,
and your needs. But
much like Bob with me. That's right. I went there.
Oh yeah.
Bob, I want you to punch me.
Oh yeah. You know what? That might happen if we sleep together.
It might. I request it.
But no, they're an interesting enemy. They're really fast, and they'll pounce on you from. Because
they hunt you? Is there do you feel like you're?
Oh, they will fucking hunt you.
Oh.
They will look for you. They'll hop up on top of train cars or buildings and actively look in the area for you, or they'll sit still in the grass because it's really Crysis has always been really good about graphics, but the third entry looks really fucking good with this environmental work.
I hear that Crysis has good graphics.
It has pretty good fucking graphics.
I heard that's what
you really got to look at some of the foliage, especially in the later levels, to really appreciate it. So,
and this is done with CryEngine 3, so the special one for. Did you play on PC?
No, I played on 360.
Okay, and it still looked really good on 360.
Yeah, it looks pretty fucking good. It's relatively smooth, the frame rate. I really couldn't find anything to really complain about.
Not after playing Aliens Colonial Marines.
No, we all feel better about games in general now that we have that, to put it nice.
After that, yeah.
So I guess it's just more of Crysis 2 is what
it is. It really is more of Crysis 2.
Okay.
But the best thing about the game is that they've kind of compromised on the level design between Crysis 1 and 2. So you have this destroyed, overgrown New York, but they've expanded the levels significantly.
Right.
I mean, Crysis 2, it kind of felt like a corridor game at times, with some open areas, which incidentally fucking turned into multiplayer areas.
Crysis 2 was. Each area was almost like situational. You get into an area and here I have to get through this area in this certain way. They were almost like little mini levels. It wasn't an open game.
Yeah, but in Crysis 3, they start off like that, the levels, but as the further you go in the game, the bigger they get.
Okay.
And the 6th level of the game, I shit you not, is larger than twice the size of the biggest Battlefield maps you've ever played on.
Oh, really? Oh, that's nice.
Huge.
So
you've actually got to use vehicles to traverse. Otherwise, it's going to take you 15, 20 minutes to get to spots at times.
See, that's good, because that's how... correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of how the first Crysis was. It was just this big, giant open world that...
Not really.
Was it a big open island? You could do whatever you wanted?
No, it really wasn't like that, actually. Except for one part of the game, it wasn't like that.
I thought it was. I thought it was just
the tank level in the middle of the game is the biggest area in Crysis 1.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, all the levels, if you think about it, are basically coastline areas with large water areas to swim through. That's about it.
Okay.
So, but no, they actually make an effort with the level design now.
That's good.
It's kind of cool to explore this destroyed city 23 years after you left it.
Mm-hmm.
And last area, you're I'm sorry, again, the sixth level of the game, again, I think it's the coolest part.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this dark level with it's kind of an inland flooded area against the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got these torn apart buildings, and it's just a murky water area. You'll see Seth Pinger tanks that are walking around, and I came across the head of the Statue of Liberty in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
Which was kind of cool.
So I guess I don't know. I'm having trouble seeing what Crysis, I guess 3 offers besides the good graphics aspect of it.
Well, there is the satisfaction of the Predator bow that they've added into the game.
Okay. In terms of just like gameplay, Crysis 3 always seemed, or Crysis in general, just always seemed like a super, super pretty first-person shooter. And people kind of praise Crysis, and inevitably it always comes back to how pretty it is. And I guess with the first one, there was a level editor, which people had a lot of fun with and did some really crazy, fun, goofy things with. But it always just kind of comes down to, it looks great and the levels are big, but I never really hear anything that makes it sound like it's doing anything particularly different than, a Battlefield game or...
Honestly, it really isn't doing that much different to be unique.
That's what I mean. So I guess sometimes the hype that surrounds Crysis doesn't match the experience that I have with the game.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, the gameplay in any of the Crysis games is basically a Halo standard with an emphasis on stealth gameplay and a few assorted elements of Call of Duty and Battlefield in there. Right. But other than that, that's...
with the vehicles and stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, they don't even introduce the vehicles in Crysis 3 until 4 levels in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, then again, they're the same fucking vehicles from 2 and 1, and I'm not really interested in those.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, you're kind of backing me up in terms of how I kind of feel about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the idea that it's like, even the idea where it's heavily, there's a heavy emphasis on stealth contradicts the fact that you should be a super soldier, because usually when stealth is introduced as a major mechanic, it's introduced because your character is actually physically weak and it becomes a necessity, much like in Dishonored. You can hold your own, but you use stealth a lot because if you have 3 or 4 guys on you, you're going to go down pretty quick. Whereas in Crysis, you're supposed to be this super soldier with, this, you can get really strong and be bulletproof for a little while, but then you're forced into this stealth state because there's also this weakness that contradicts the entire idea behind the game. I mean, why have that giant suit that can make you do all these things when all you really need is just the stealth aspect of it, I guess, And we're getting into like design philosophies here.
Yeah.
I guess Crysis always seemed like a more the design philosophy of Crysis always seemed somewhat confused to me. So,
well, I think the best area they've improved upon beyond the level design for the game is the multiplayer,
mm-hmm.
and they improved upon it by changing very fucking little from Crysis 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's roughly 90% the same experience. They don't change the kill streak system, which was already fun.
Mm-hmm.
They don't change the suit mechanics. Hell, some of the levels are left over from Crysis 2.
Oh, really? So,
They're actually pretty fucking good levels.
so it sounds like they kind of just worked on the graphics.
Yeah, they up the level presentation.
And that's kind of it. You know?
Yeah,
That's what they do.
but,
That's what they're known for.
I know, but it's like the Crysis games are nothing but more than like just this big tech demo for the Crytek engine.
Well, you look at
Like-
Far Cry. It was a mediocre shooter with a really good engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of just feel like the Crysis games exist to sell CryEngine to third parties.
Which, I don't know. I mean, given the technical capabilities in the engine, I mean, it's a pretty good sell.
Oh, sure, I agree, but it's sort of like Hydrophobia. The only reason that game existed was to sort of sell the water technology thing to third parties. But
Which is unfortunate because that engine and that design had a little bit of promise to it.
it did. No, it totally did. But it unfortunately was attached to Hydrophobia.
Yeah. But no, I mean, one of the coolest things they introduced in the multiplayer is, it was actually in the demo for the game, and they've been touting it strongly, is the Hunter mode.
Mhm.
And the basic idea is that a group of 11 cell operatives, they're kind of the main opposition, regular grunt bad guys in the game. And it plays the level. It actually plays out cinematically. So you start out the match. They're all in a VTOL going somewhere, and suddenly the VTOL shot down, and the survivors of it have to hold off against these group of nanosuit wearing hunters.
Mhm.
And so it kind of plays. Honestly, it's a better Aliens Colonial Marines experience than Aliens Colonial Marines.
I see.
Was it more like is it more like Predators and then Aliens though?
No, not in that way, because it's kind of like a zombie variant. So one guy starts out as a hunter, and the people he kills becomes hunters.
Oh, okay. It's like zombie from Halo.
Right.
Zombie.
Yeah,
Okay, I get you.
Halo, kind of,
Yeah.
And the cell guys, they don't have any superpowers. They only have their weapons with limited ammo. They have like a proximity sensor, which works a lot like the motion sensor in Aliens. And that's about it. You know, they've got a few grenades and stuff, but that's it. And the hunters have unlimited suit stealth, but their only weapon is a predator bow.
Mhm.
So it's kind of balanced in like that.
It's the year of the bow.
Yeah,
Loves their bows.
Tomb Raider is actually closing out the end of the year, or the year of the bow.
Cool.
But it's just such an exciting mode to play, because they take the Battlefield 3 route with the various NPC chat. So in the game, they're calling out various things that are going on. If a hunter's approaching, their motion detectors are going off. They're going, I'm getting readings. Fuck, where's the VTOL?
Okay. You see, this sounds fun.
Really intense.
I could have fun with this.
You could absolutely have fun with this.
See, I don't need the whole Crysis single player experience. This sounds fun.
Yeah, it is very fun. And they also include a various, they've got the team deathmatch, they got the domination, the King of the Hill variants, all that. They actually introduce vehicles, weapons into the multiplayer to an extent, like the Seth Pinger tank,
right?
That came from 2 is in the single player for 3. That you could actually pilot that now at times. And there's also VTOLs flying through some of the levels with mounted guns, and you could snipe guys from that. But they've also added modes to demonstrate the capabilities of the nanosuit. So they'll, again, like Hunter mode, they'll have the nanosuits versus regular guys, or they even have an entire playlist just about regular guys versus regular guys.
Okay. So just they take out the suit altogether.
Yeah, they take it out altogether, and you
it seems like
weapons, and that's all you have.
Like in Crysis, if they just took out the suit, it would be the same game. like, you don't really need the suit at all. Like, they just add the stealth mechanic to where when you crouch, you're stealthy, and then just make the shield always be on, and then you don't really need the suit anymore. That's what I mean. Like, the design of Crysis always seems so odd to me and kind of haphazard. I don't know. And it's so weird that, I remember when Crysis games came out, it was a really, really, really big deal. This one, and maybe it's just me, but this really seemed to kind of come and go, and everyone's like, Crysis 3. And maybe it was bigger in the PC gaming circuits. Maybe if I was in that, at those forums and stuff, it would have been a more of a big thing.
Well, you said you played Crysis 1, right?
I played Crysis 1, and I played Crysis 2, although I didn't finish Crysis 2, I don't think.
Okay. Well, I mean, when they introduced Crysis 2, they kind of reworked the entire suit design. I mean, it was all the same basic elements and ideas, but it was more straightforward and user friendly.
Right.
I don't agree with that. I still think the Nanosuit 1 was pretty fucking cool.
Now, what was the difference? How did it work in 1 and then to 2? I remember it being really simplified for 2.
Yeah, in 1 you have 5 suit powers. You've got the armor, you've got the speed, you've got the stealth, you've got the power jumping ability, the strength, and what was the other?
That's right, and they work things. So for Crysis 2, they kind of match them together. So
yeah, so they cut it down to 3. You have the stealth, you got the armor, then you got the power, which encompasses the jumping and the strength and the speed.
Right.
So I don't know. I didn't really agree with that, and they kind of addressed that with 3 by cutting it down to 2. So you've got the stealth and the armor, and the power is still there, but it doesn't drain your energy.
So wait, there's only 2 powers in Crysis 3?
Yeah.
So they brought it down even more.
Yeah. But in that way, I mean, it kind of feels better.
So wait, what powers do you have in 3 now?
You have the armor and you have the stealth.
So you don't even have the strength anymore.
Yeah, you can move fast or jump
high? No, you can still do that. You can still sprint, very fast. You can, jump high and grab things, but it doesn't drain your suit energy, so it doesn't kind of count.
So is it just passive?
It's a passive ability, yes.
So you don't even need the suit. Just always give you armor and then make you stealth when you crouch. Like, they don't need the suit at all. Right? They kind of don't need this. Like they kind of took out the suit.
I don't know. Stealth crouching, basing on that, given the amount of enemies they put into 3,
right,
and the level design, wouldn't work out. Because I mean, you'll go into areas and there will be upwards of a dozen different guys, and they increase the verticality of the level, so they can be up high, they can be down low, they can be anywhere.
Right.
And so you have to constantly be on your toes if you're playing stealthily, which you kind of have to in this game.
So what happens if you don't play stealthily?
Well, you better be prepared to fucking run away, because
then you're not really a super soldier, are you?
No, they will gang up on you.
What's wrong with this game? See what I'm saying? Nothing in this game makes sense. You're a super soldier who can get fucked up if they see you, so you need to use stealth. But you have a suit, and you have a suit because you're supposed to be the super soldier who'll get killed. But guess what? You don't need the suit because they took all the suit powers.
I would honestly argue that a super soldier doesn't have to be, impervious to everything.
Why don't they just name the game Bob or Jim? And here does this guy named Jim.
Jimsis.
Jim, who doesn't really have any powers, and he needs to be stealthy because everyone will fuck him up. They call it Jim. Jim 2 and Jim 3. So what?
I don't know how to offer a counter argument to that, because it just doesn't make sense in my head.
So Crysis is about a super soldier who's not very super, so he needs to use stealth because he has.
I think a super soldier can be just fine as an ability or character with stealth.
But wait a second. If you need to use stealth, right, and you're supposedly a super soldier. Wait a second. If you're a super soldier, why do you need stealth to hide from regular soldiers? Shouldn't regular soldiers not cause much of a problem?
Oh, you're just fine against one regular soldier or 2 or 3. It's when you have 8 or 9 of them hunting for you actively that you have to engage in stealth. And that's the case with a lot of the game.
But it seems like you need to engage in stealth because they took away all your powers.
They didn't really take them away. They just reassigned and reworked them.
I see.
I mean, again, you still have the stealth, you still have the armor, and the strength and the jumping and the speed correspond to a passive power now.
Right. Do you have to turn the armor on?
Yes.
Okay. And it uses energy when you have the armor on.
Yes.
Okay.
Same with the stealth.
And the stealth uses energy too.
Mm-hmm. But the way they work it now is that the armor and the stealth don't use the same energy bar. They have their own separate bars.
They have their own energy bars.
Yeah.
So, if I was engineering this suit, I would just take away the stealth and make the armor bar doubly long.
I think you just want to go balls to the wall and kill and destroy everything.
I'm just saying, he's not sounding very super to me. That's all I'm saying. I think he got the short end of the stick. I think he's been cheated.
Well, whatever it is, this is a better super soldier experience in my opinion than Halo or again Call of Duty or whatever the fuck you want to name.
Well, Call of Duty's not even about being a super soldier.
Oh no, you get shot 23 times, your vision goes red, and you wait 5 seconds, and you're back in the game. You're back in the fight.
Right. That's pretty super,
Yeah, that's absolutely fucking super.
Does the guy in Crysis? What's his name?
Prophet.
His name is Prophet.
Yes.
He gave himself that name, didn't he?
No. Prophet's actually a really interesting character because technically that's not Prophet. Because the way the story works is that in Crysis 2, Prophet was your squad leader in Crysis 1. In Crysis 2, Prophet dies in the first level.
Mm-hmm. Spoiler, by the way.
But you're not missing much. But the way it works is that the player you're actually playing as in Crysis 2, his name is Alcatraz. Mm-hmm. And he was dying, but Prophet was in far worse shape. Mm-hmm. He couldn't be saved. So Prophet put the nanosuit on Alcatraz. Okay? Mm-hmm. And as the game went on, you didn't know it, but since Prophet had been using the nanosuit so long, it had copied and ingrained Prophet's brain and his personality into the suit.
Uh-huh.
So the suit kind of, by the end of the game, takes over Alcatraz, kind of killing him mentally, and that person becomes Prophet.
So whoever wears
kind of reborn.
So whoever wears the suit kind of becomes Prophet.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyone can wear the suit. It's kind of like the mask with Jim Carrey.
Well, the thing about the suit is that it's built around this concept of it's based on Seth technology, and the suit.
Seth MacFarlane, what we were talking about earlier.
Seth, CEPH, the alien.
Okay, I thought we were talking about
Seth, that technology.
I thought we were talking about Seth MacFarlane again.
No, I don't like Seth MacFarlane. But anyway, no, it's the idea is that the longer you wear the suit, the more the suit becomes attached to you. Mm-hmm. So if you wear it so long enough, you eventually are not able to take it off.
So the suit is sort of like the overly attached girlfriend.
It will become ingrained with your body, and it'll be like literally cutting off your layer of skin.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. Hence why in the game, they'll have facilities to where people who used to wear nanosuits, they remove them by kind of skinning you. That's what they call the process.
Interesting.
And
okay.
It's extremely painful.
Sure. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Okay. And they work for the government?
No, they well, some of them did, but the way they work the story is that the evil organization or the evil corporation in Crysis 2 is back, and it's 23 years later, and they've tricked the world into being run by them.
Right.
And, yeah.
I am so confused.
It's a really...
Yeah. No idea.
The 23-year history gap between Crysis 2 and 3 does not aid in making a more understandable story. Put it that way.
Sure.
But and I think that was one of the areas they really handled the game poorly.
Mm-hmm. The narrative.
Yeah.
I see.
Or at least the background story between 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. And hell, they didn't do a very good job either with between 1 and 2. So.
Right.
I mean, they kill off several characters between 1 and 2. They don't even have a fucking epilogue for 1, which doesn't make sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
You beat 1, correct?
Oh, I don't think so.
I played a little bit of it.
We're talking about time ago.
At the end of 1, you defeat the alien warship, and you're on a VTOL, and you're about to evacuate to this fleet. And you get a radio transmission from Prophet, who's somehow alive on Lingshan Island, mm-hmm. where the aliens are. And your character, Nomad, Psycho, and the doctor you're with decide to go back to the island and stop the alien invasion once and for all. And the game ends.
Mm.
And so nothing fucking happens. You don't know what fucking happens, and it's not really fucking explained in Crysis 2 at all.
So, why are there squids wearing erector sets?
That's what the Ceph are. They're a cephalopoid-based alien race. And,
so, at least that makes sense that they would be attacking a planet that's made mostly of water.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, if you look at the background of the game, most of the areas they attack are like port cities or
right.
locations next to massive bodies of water
and good restaurants in port cities.
I guess. I don't know, but it's really interesting how they do the aliens. They kind of treat the aliens as this kind of virus, kind of like the necromorphs in a way in Dead Space.
Okay,
they'll.
They turn people into squids.
Well, no, they don't turn people into squids. They just kill them and or infect them with a virus that turns them literally into human goo.
And what do they eat the goo?
No, it's a biological weapon. It's a WMD designed to just get rid of humans altogether.
Oh, okay. So they just turn them into like this slime.
Into
just vaporize people.
Yeah, they just that's the most efficient way for them to kill us all. So
I see.
That's the major plot in Crysis 2. So.
Okay.
So now I might be interested in Crysis 3 if there's a part of the game where they have to remove the suit off of you, but it's done by a crazy lady next to a dumpster who actually puts it onto herself while rubbing her nipples and going, "It feels good,
so good."
Well, that almost happens in Crysis 2. So
oh, nice. The crazy lady, does she yell? Is she wearing a tutu?
Well, there is a crazy person, and there is a lady, and they begin the process, but then you're able to escape.
Oh.
All right. And then like little squids come out of her meth sores. And fall and flopping on the ground, and they put on erector sets and take over the world.
That's where they came from.
That's where they actually came from, the crazy lady. The cephalopods are falling out of her meth swords like little baby squids, and then she brings them back to her little meth hovel, and then she raises them herself, and she trains them for the little erector set armor pieces. Then she sends them off. Go! Go!
Yeah, and the power suits are really just a metaphor for the layers that she's wearing to protect herself from the world.
Right. And she wants to turn people into goo so she can inject them.
It's a real shame with this series that it has the depth of a universe that could really be on par with Halo is with their extended universe.
Right.
But they don't fucking try hard with it. They did a comic series, and that's about it.
Because they make a graphics engine.
I was going to say, but I did hear they have pretty good graphics.
They do have pretty good graphics.
That's what I mean. It's like that's what I said at the beginning of this conversation, that I feel like Crysis is really just there to sell CryEngine, and really that's where their focus is. They're trying to pull sort of an Epic Games sort of thing where Epic Games really doesn't need to make games if they didn't want to, because they could just license their engine out and just make money off of that. So, which is great for them because it allows them the freedom to do whatever they want. And you know, Microsoft doesn't own Gears of War. Epic never sold them the rights to the IP. Like Epic still owns that.
Yeah,
So-
they just sold console exclusivity rights.
Exactly. Whereas usually the publisher will actually buy ownership of the copyright of the IP. Epic never did that because they don't need to. They have the option. They have buckets of money with Unreal Engine. They just, you know, it allows them to do that kind of thing. And I almost feel like that's what they're trying to do with CryEngine and Crysis. Like they kind of want to follow that Epic Games model. But maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I've tried them all. Like I said, you know. But you do sound fairly positive on the experience.
I really particularly enjoyed it. The single player is shorter than what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 2/3 the size of Crysis 2, in my opinion.
Okay.
But they do some interesting things with the universe that I like.
Mm-hmm.
The multiplayer is pretty goddamn good.
Right.
And overall, it's not a bad way for the series to go out. But
So is this the last one? This is it.
They won't say if they're they've speculated about making a Crysis 4, but the way they did the story, it's pretty finite and kind of ends the saga.
Does at the end of Crysis 3, they just end up removing all the suit's powers and it just evaporates and that's it? No more Crysis.
No.
They remove the suit and it's like a quick time event and your skin flies off.
Well, I
Don't ruin it. I'm just throwing things out there.
No, they actually do something really interesting with the suit. They, without putting too fine a point to it, they take the basic idea of the symbiosis to the ultimate level.
It becomes a person.
So,
It becomes a real boy. It's fucking
The
Pinocchio.
suit becomes a real boy.
Yes.
The suit just kind of jumps off and it's like this hollow suit just kind of walking around. And he's like, thanks for all the fish. And he goes out and
He uses his superpowers to fly out.
No, he doesn't
Yeah.
have that power, Bob.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Doesn't have
the ending is kind of like that, actually.
no, really.
Spoilers.
Actually, you know, the suit comes off and it peels off of you, falls to the floor, then reforms and turns around to face you. And as it turns around, you notice this big Monster Energy drink logo on the front of it, and then it goes off to a world of product endorsement.
Well, there's no way they could take the nanosuit off Prophet without killing him.
Right.
He would literally tear him apart as a person.
Right.
So,
Well, we'll have to look it up or play it. We won't ruin it completely. We'll just make fun of what we think the ending is.
honestly, I would like people to play this game with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really fun. I guess the only feature that's really missing from the game is co-op. I think this game would be fucking great with co-op.
Yeah.
Especially the size of the areas in the game.
It seems like it'd be kind of made for it. But
Yeah, drawing, especially if you have to stealth around. If you have another person that draws fire while the other person sneaks around and kills the other guys, I think it would be great.
that would be kind of neat.
Yeah, a whole aggro system based on that. But
Yeah.
beyond that, just the multiplayer alone, you could sell that product separately from Crysis 3 if you wanted. So I'd like people to actually play that with.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll rent it or red box it or something. I can't see myself picking up Crysis 3. You know, especially not. There's a bunch of games coming. So, but I didn't. It's like 10 o'clock already.
Yeah.
So let me talk about real quick because you guys can read it. But I have a review up for Metal Gear Rising. Really great game. I really enjoyed it. It's a perfect amalgamation of what you would expect from Kojima Productions and Platinum Games. The way they sort of melded those two design philosophies I think is done extremely well in the game. The fighting mechanics are great. The cut mechanic, the cut mode is done exceptionally well. And I played this game. I've been playing it on and off at different conventions for a long time now. It feels like I think a couple of E3s ago is when we first got our hands on it. I think maybe Maybe it was the last one. I don't know. But I've sort of been experiencing the slow development of that, of cut mode, and how, and in its final form, I think this is the best form I've seen it in. I remember at the very beginning when doing it, it was kind of difficult to manage and a little confusing, but the way they settled on it working is really well done. My two biggest problems with the game is, number one is the camera is really kind of fucked up in this game, which is really too bad, because it really tends to get in the way at times. It's not so bad in the larger areas, but there's some points where you're in like an office building and you're fighting two geckos or multiple soldiers in these small, tight corridors, and the camera doesn't go through walls. If it hits a wall, it gets pushed forward or gets blocked around it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the cameras will kind of swing out and the wall will disappear, or they'll do some sort of translucency with the walls. It doesn't do that here. So it really can like flip around and really mess up, and it can be very difficult to deal with sometimes. That was one of the major problems I had. The other problem I had with the game is that Raiden tends to kind of always want to do his animations and continue through with his animations. Whereas a game like Bayonetta, she's never kind of stuck in animation. You kind of you can always sort of string along movements as much as possible. But in Rising, if he does this kick, he has to do that little thing where he does the kick and then puts his leg back and then puts it down again. And you're going to be stuck in that animation no matter what. Even if you need to like parry a fucking blow that's coming in from an enemy from a different direction, Raiden has to finish doing that thing.
I guess Brad's saying you can dodge cancel in Rising.
You can dodge cancel, but you can't parry cancel or other stuff like that.
Right.
I just want something. It's not as bad. It's not as bad as the camera is, but it's something I did notice and something that I was sort of surprised to see in a Platinum game product because they're so good at this shit. Other than that, it's a really great game, and the boss fights are really well done. They don't do a lot of the Titan type of boss fights. Most of the boss fights, like 90% of them, are you fighting people or enemies that are your size but have specific abilities that are sort of equipped to deal with things that you sort of dish out. So you have to actually end up like changing your play style to deal with some of these bosses sometimes. And they're just really well done, and they're fun, and they're kind of cool. The only thing I had was sorry, like Brad is writing things and I'm reading them in chat over at 4pp.tv.
I assume that you wish there was an actually extensive tutorial to the game.
I do, because there's a lot of things this game does not tell you. A lot of things. Like there are people who have gone through the whole game and not realized there was a dodge. I went through the whole game without realizing that if I press down on the D-pad, it automatically makes me consume a health item. It does that Metal Gear Solid thing where if you have it equipped, it kind of does it automatically. But I had no idea you can just kind of press down to eat it automatically when you're to kind of eat it when you're doing stuff. The move lists are not in the same place where you actually purchase the moves. So, in any other game where you're buying moves with your skill points, it'll show you what the move looks like and show you the button presses right there before you even buy it. So that this is a, let's say it does a combination of button presses that you don't feel like doing or you don't think is going to be really, that you don't think is going to be easy for you. Like you don't know that until you go out of that and go to the help menu, and it's kind of hidden in the help menu in a whole different place. So it's kind of fucked up, but I really liked it. My review is up over at 4playNetwork.com. So definitely check that out. Have you guys played any of Rising at all?
I own it. I lent it to Brad so he could play News Release Tuesday. And it's been sitting right next to my desk. I haven't had any time.
Right. Okay. Hold on. So Brad is saying the fact that you can't buffer camera movement while coming out of blade mode is the single most mind-boggling control decision in that game. I'm not sure what he means by buffer camera movement while coming out of blade mode. Does he mean setting up the camera when you're coming out of blade mode?
Like adjusting the camera when you're coming out?
That might be what he means, because I've had issues where when I'm coming out of blade mode, my camera would flip around because in a weird direction because I was trying to change movements at the same time. So, but yeah, you guys should definitely check it out. Sorry, I'm like so distracted now all of a sudden. So,
That's all right.
it's warm in here too.
Yeah, I'll get to the game probably this week or next, but I don't know. I've got a few more things to work on before I can.
Yeah, no, I definitely suggest you buy it. And it has, it definitely has some of that Kojima charm to it as well. Like there's different outfits you can get, and there's just little touches that you can definitely tell come from Kojima Productions. Unfortunately, one thing I was disappointed is that all the cutscenes are pre-rendered. So if you get a weird outfit, you can't. It doesn't show up in the cutscenes, which is kind of unfortunate. So, like at this one point where he gets like a mariachi outfit, and it would have been great to see some of those cutscenes with Raiden in a mariachi outfit.
Didn't they do the same thing for MGS4?
I don't know. I thought you could see the outfits. No, because those were pre-rendered cutscenes.
Yeah,
MGS4. So it's
it's loosely tied to that. So
yeah, like Metal Gear Solid 3 didn't have pre-rendered cutscenes. So when Snake is in his weird outfits and stuff, it's kind of in the cutscenes and things like that. But I like that aspect of things, and I don't want to see that go away at Ground Zeroes and whatnot. But I don't know. I liked it. I'm glad this project was saved by Platinum Games after Kojima Productions kind of they had actually canceled it at one point, and then I guess Kojima had a meeting with someone from Platinum Games, and they ended up picking it up and doing stuff with it.
So basically, this is their StarCraft Ghost, but actually happened.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's very diverging from the regular formula they do. It's an action game as opposed to Metal Gear Solid, which is much more kind of a stealth shooter game.
Well, Kojima Productions was having a problem with getting that cut mechanic to work. Yeah. And I think originally Metal Gear Rising was going to be much more of like a regular Metal Gear game with the stealth action and all that kind of stuff. But I think this direction fits it much better. Definitely much better. And I like Raiden in this game. He's kind of a badass. And he doesn't whine nearly as much as he does in other games. So,
well, he's always been a fucking whiny bitch.
Yeah, no, he's actually pretty cool in this one. So I kind of dig him. I can guarantee you, I bet we're gonna see another one of these. I think it's doing pretty well commercially, as far as I can tell. But
it'll probably end up selling about 3 or 4 million copies.
Yeah, eventually. I think something like this is going to have a longer tail. It'd be great if they can patch in some of these camera fixes. I tell you, that'd be very nice. So, but anyway, that's primarily what I've been playing. And I played Daikaitana for way back when.
Well, real quick before you do that, so would it be bad for me to experience my first Platinum Games title by playing this? Or should I play another Platinum Games title first?
There are better games.
Okay. So I never played Bayonetta. I had no interest in Anarchy Reigns.
I would start with Bayonetta. Yeah, I would start with Bayonetta, actually, because the control system of Bayonetta is much better than Metal Gear Rising. But Metal Gear Rising has, it's a totally different beast. So you have to take that into account. I would play both. I know people love Vanquish. I also like Vanquish. It took me a while I still haven't finished it. It didn't put its claws into me as much as I thought it would, especially after I played it. I think the first E3 I went to, I played Vanquish there, and I loved it. I was in love with it. And then, for whatever reason, by the time it came out, my interest level had dropped quite a bit. But I would actually say, for you, Chris, since you're very much into sci-fi, I would say go Bayonetta, Vanquish, and then go Metal Gear Rising.
Okay,
that would be my recommendation to you.
I tried Vanquish. I tried the demo of it. It didn't particularly interest me. Mm-hmm. I didn't like how they were handling some of the enemies in there.
Yeah, I mean, Vanquish is not. It's not like a Platinum game fighting game. You have to remember. It's definitely a third-person shooter, but I would definitely Bayonetta should be something you should play.
Yeah, and I looked at the way they were handling like the camera, for example, in Bayonetta, and I didn't like that either. So
I don't remember having problems with the camera in Bayonetta, but I also don't recall. Do you remember exactly what the issues you were having?
I don't know. I was just seeing some demo footage being played, I think on the feed one time, and it did not interest me at all.
Okay. Yeah. I would try Bayonetta just because it's just
okay.
Yeah, if you want to try a platinum game fighting game, and Bayonetta is just so much fun. It's so over the top and it's so well done. It's certainly an experience.
I just wish that Metal Gear Rising would be just a Metal Gear game built upon Ninja Gaiden. I would be completely happy with that.
But that's kind of what it is. It's kind of exactly what it is.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's got the platinum game fighting aspects, but then you have the cut mode, and then it's all Metal Gear. I mean, there's Metal Gears in it, and there's the codec, and you're talking to your different team, and there's all that Metal Gear story stuff is in there, but it's actually kind of hidden. Like the main game itself and the cutscenes are very platinum games. They're very over the top. There's very, crazy action sequences. But of course, the sort of the really in-depth story stuff where they go in-depth on like stuff you don't even need to know, but that's just the way Metal Gear is. That's there too, but it's all on the codecs. So when you go in, you start talking to your teammates through the codec, that's where all that stuff is. So you can bypass it if you want to, which I think was probably a conscious choice because there's going to be people who want to play this game just for the fighting stuff and don't want to be bothered with all that fluff. And then there's the Metal Gear people who like that kind of thing. They like to hear, Kojima writing about, the intricate details of a missile defense system or something, So that stuff is there for the Metal Gear fans as well. And there's characters from Metal Gear 4 in this one, and they make references to Metal Gear 4, so it's definitely a sequel. It's actually kind of like an offshoot sequel to Metal Gear.
It's set like 4 or 5 years after MGS4.
Yeah, and they make reference, and there's characters. There's Metal Gear Solid 4 characters that show up.
Don't spoil that for me, because
not going to, because when it happened, I was so happy. It was so cool to see.
Okay,
so that was a good moment. But yeah, definitely try. Okay. So then I played Daikaten this week, which is pretty shitty. But you know what? So far, not as bad as I imagined it would be.
Yeah, I think it's a different time, and there was a lot of hype around it. And since now you don't have the hype, you just have a lot of the shit that came out afterwards. You're not going to be as disappointed with it.
The bar is very low.
You're expecting it to be really bad. Mm-hmm. And it actually is, not great. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's still, it's still a comprehensive shooter. It's just, it wasn't really worth the years of hypes and all really demeaning advertisements.
Yeah, and also Commander watching live at 4pp.tv also reminding me that I'm playing a patched version.
Oh, God.
So, the unpatched version upon release was, or at least it would have a 100% chance of crashing.
Yeah, I don't even think you could install it. I think if you uninstall it, it would break your PC or something horrible with that.
Oh, really? Oh, God.
There's some really bad bugs around the installer or uninstaller. It was terrible.
So I got my copy from Good Old Games, and, it's so over the top, bad B movie. It's the Asian characters are so stereotypical Asian that it's almost embarrassing and almost maybe a little racist.
Well, that was a different time. That was when Shadow Warrior was okay.
My black sidekick is named Superfly Johnson.
Yeah,
it was a different time. It was a very different time. Yeah, but anyway, I'll be playing that again Wednesday if people want to show up to the feed and watch me play some more of that.
Well, Joseph, I don't know if you were aware of this yet, but I have a new game for you to play for Wayback Wednesday.
Do you?
Now, it's not finished, but I mean, you know how big of fans of the Resident Evil franchise most of us are here at 4Player, right?
That is true.
Well, what if I told you that there's been a content restoration mod team out there that's been completely rebuilding Resident Evil 1.5?
What was Resident Evil 1.5?
Resident Evil 1.5 was designed to be Resident Evil 2. That was cut 95% after 95% of the game had been completed.
Okay.
It's essentially complete.
Mm-hmm.
And they've spent the past few years restoring that cut content and fixing it and trying to make it into a workable game.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And
is it completely different than 2?
It's very different. First of all, Claire Redfield's not in there at all. A lot of the environments are very different. The police station alone is completely different. It has some of the same puzzles and some of the same elements, but there's also some cut enemies and just various different aspects that never ever went into what we know as Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
You should actually look up some footage of this. I mean, it's really interesting.
I will. Why was it canceled, and why was it?
Capcom never really said. It was probably a quality issue, given some of the enemies in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's at one point in some of the footage where there's these infected gorillas that attack you, and they will rape the shit out of you.
Where did the gorillas come from?
I don't know. They just appear in one scene in the parking lot of the police station.
Maybe there's a zoo. That was.
Well, in Resident Evil Outbreak File 2, there actually is a zoo.
Okay, well that would exist.
So there are infected elephants and things that will attack you.
Oh, interesting.
But no rapist gorillas.
Yeah, but it's really interesting to see all this cut content that could have made a dramatically different game.
Okay, actually, Lost King is saying it was canned because they got a new engine and they rebuilt it from the ground up for Resident Evil 2.
So. I don't know about that, because I mean, you compare the footage of 1.5 and 2, and it looks exactly the same. So
I'm just going by what Lost King said.
Yeah. Well, and either way, they recently released a playable build of what they're working on. They say it's got some bugs in there, but I haven't played it yet, but it's an ISO you can actually load up into your PlayStation and play. Okay.
Well, I will. Maybe can I play it on the computer itself, or do I have to? I
wouldn't be surprised.
Probably. I mean, if it's an ISO for the PlayStation,
I can just get a
on PSX or something. The emulators.
Right.
I mean, the dev team behind this content mod, they understand the engine so well that they're looking to add on bonus features and stuff, like kind of like the mercenaries modes in the later Resident Evil games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's looking pretty fucking cool, and I think that's something you really should play on the feed.
Definitely, that'd be like a kind of a little interesting thing to play.
Yeah.
So somebody just that guy Mike just put a link in here, so I'll take a look at this and we'll play this one night. It'll be fun because I do want to play some more Daikai Tana, and then I do want to play System Shock eventually. But we've played a lot of System Shock on the feed, so I'm not sure exactly how much of that I'll play.
Lands of Lore.
I don't want to play Lands of Lore. All this stuff.
Oh yeah, lots of great games.
Lots of great old games. All right. Well, it's like 10:30. We should, unless you guys have anything else you want to say, we should.
We didn't even talk about the PS4.
Oh God,
we didn't talk about PS4. I was going to bring up some Kickstarter stuff I've gotten behind recently.
God.
We've got a full show next week.
3-hour show.
We'll have to talk about some of this next week. We did recently we did a live commentary for the PlayStation 4 press conference that happened this past week. We do have that whole thing, and it's going to be on YouTube, and we're going to put it up on YouTube. So it'll be the press conference, our heads on the bottom commenting. Unfortunately, at least 40% of our comments are about how the feed had stopped. And
the feed was terrible. I'm watching a slideshow.
I cut out the first 27 minutes of what we were doing because that was pretty much what we were talking about the entire time.
Yeah, so there's no need to people to see.
It would have been a 3-hour video, people.
Yeah. So definitely look for that on YouTube. But yeah, we'll have to talk about the PS4 next week as we're going along. And I don't know how much there is to say other than I'm satisfied with what we saw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any huge worries.
I'm intrigued by especially the social aspects of it, and the hardware is pretty much what they had to do for the hardware.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued. I'm not, being blown out of my pants excited.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I want to see more. Maybe we'll even see the console eventually.
I've got a few concerns for it, but I'm not worried about looking at the fucking console. I mean,
I like to see it. I like to know because I need to know if it's going to match my furniture. It's going to match,
It's going to be black, okay, Joseph? It's going to be black.
It's just fuck that shit. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. The console aesthetics. I mean, it hasn't mattered since the fucking Wii came out.
What if it's the size of an Oldsmobile? Then
I doubt it will be that.
You say, then you'll be eating your words. You'll say, God.
I think the big thing to come out probably of E3 is the announcement of the hard drive specs and the pricing.
Yeah.
Those are the two big things. And I'm not going to buy one until I know there's games on there that I want to buy.
Yeah.
Sure.
The hard drive, the price, and specifically the services, how much of that is going to be behind a paywall.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which will be about 80% of that, in my opinion.
I know, I think that's true. And they're probably not releasing the price yet because I guarantee they're probably still in talks with parts distributors to try to work out those deals and how much. They're probably still working out how much their manufacturing costs are going to be.
I think they did confirm a holiday 2013.
November 2013.
Was it November? They said holiday.
They said holiday 2013. Yeah. It'll probably launch in November.
Yeah.
Probably November. Yeah. I can see them trying to get it out before the Christmas rush.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Odds are Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, I can see them. You'd want it out there for Black Friday. They may do like a week or two before then, just to be sure they have units on the shelves.
Yeah. Well, they'll do a week or two before then, and then maybe throw a sale. Not a sale, but they'll do a bundle for Black Friday with the launch game of some sort.
I think this just raises the bar for Microsoft, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to offer.
I wonder if because there's such tight integration with the Vita, I wonder if they can do a bundle with the Vita. That'd be kind of weird.
Oh
God,
that'd be kind of neat though. I don't know.
They recently announced the price drop on the Vita to sub $200.
That's true. I'll tell you what though, looking at the PlayStation 4 press conference and how much of that press conference was actually about games, how much of the Microsoft press conference do you think will actually be about games? And how much do you think will be about movies and television shows and the Kinect and that kind of thing?
I have a feeling that they're probably going to focus on the social and the entertainment aspect of it as well. Because they're trying to sell like an entertainment system.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like mostly, honestly, the most. Whenever I turn on my Xbox, it's 60 to 80% of the time to watch Netflix or watch videos off my PC.
I'm the exact opposite. I use my 360 to play a lot of console games, and then I use my PS3 for Netflix. So
yeah, I try to use the PS3 for Netflix because Netflix on anything else is just terrible.
Yeah.
But I play a lot of games on PC.
Yeah. No, so you're much more of a PC gamer type of guy.
Yeah. And it looks better.
Yeah, it does. That's true. All right, well, we'll talk about this stuff next week. We'll have a full play next week as well. And we won't have any new releases to talk about next week, so we can talk more about the PS4. So,
do we?
All good. No, nothing's coming out on Tuesday. And then Tomb Raider after that. It's a very quiet week in terms of game releases. So
yeah, and the week after next is going to be chock full of shit.
And Tomb Raider and stuff. So next show we'll concentrate on the PS4, and there might even be a little more information by the time that comes out. So
updates on the crazy trash lady.
And I'll let you guys know how the crazy trash lady is doing. So
you should set out some trash out there just for her.
Yeah, I was gonna say put some some coats or something over there, some extra layers for her.
Right.
Like maybe sprinkle a little bit of meth on there.
Yeah, and like a box with
a box with a stick. Yeah,
you
can try to trap her.
And if she drops by when you're not there, just set up a security webcam that just monitors for movement.
I'll attach it to feed, so then we can just have a crazy lady on the feed
Because Nick complains enough about that we don't have enough content. So
I think that's,
we could have a 9-hour stream looking out for her.
that'd be good. I'm sure everyone will love that.
I sense this is a new website we should venture into.
The toothlessfairy.com.
Yeah, or just, crazy homeless people webcams.com.
Right. I like toothlessfairy.com.
Toothlessfairy.com. Yeah.
Well, we should register that domain and then just have it redirect to us.
Bob, look up real quick if toothlesslady.com or toothlessfairy.com is taken.
Domain.
Or you can just put it into the search bar. Toothlessfairy.com.
Toothlessfairy.com is a parked domain.
Oh, sons of bitches. See?
All right. How about homeless Toothless Fairy? Or how about like Toothless Lady?
Those damn North Koreans.
I think any comment. Oh, toothlesslady.com is not taken.
Oh, really? That's surprising.
How about Toothless Tramp?
Hey, now that's calling down judgment on her. You don't know her.
You don't know what she does with her life. What kind of she is.
We are not a porn site.
Just because she's toothless.
Should we just get a bunch of like really nasty porn URLs and just have them redirect to our site?
Well, I used to own a bunch. I had I owned jerking off.
Own Carrot Top or Mr. Wizard fucking Carrot Top.com.
So I gotta check. I used to
relinquish that one.
I used to own jerkingoffinavan.com.
Okay.
I used to own bigblackfloppydicks.com. I own. And then my more recent purchase a couple of years ago was Mr. Wizard fucking CarrotTop.com. And it was just going to be all badly photoshopped images from gay porno of Mr. Wizard fucking Carrot Top, and with really horrible, blatant taglines under each picture, like, Mr. Wizard calls this experiment fucking Carrot Top in the ass.
See, you shouldn't have told us and the audience about this, Joseph, because now somebody's going to set up a Mr. Wizard fucking carrottop.tumblr.com.
Right. I don't know if there's anything else I have.
I want to know if anybody ever approached you about selling that domain to them.
Which one?
Or any of those domains.
Bigblackfloppydicks.com.
Yeah.
I never got any offers.
Oh, I mean, most people don't want their black dicks to be floppy.
Well, then why would you want a black dick at all? The floppiness is part of the benefits.
You probably should have called it bigblackdicks.com.
What's that?
You should have called it bigblackdicks.com.
Yeah, but if they're not floppy, why bother? It's the flopping that
you like there to be a little give in your big black.
It has to be the flopping. It's really about the flopping.
Yeah. Well, it's because they're so large that there's not enough blood in the human body to be able to sustain a full erection. So
exactly. So right.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to pass out when you get an erection.
Exactly. So they have to be made somewhat floppy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I can see there'd be some give to the big black dick.
Commander in chat at 4pb.tv. He says that we should register a wearenotapornsite.com URL
and have it go to our site, have it redirect to our site just to prove.
Yeah.
Maybe.
How about not? I'm pretty sure not a porn site is already actually a porn site. Yeah, not a pornsite.com is parked.
Oh, okay.
What about we are not a porn site.com?
Not a porn site.
Available.
So we are not a porn site is, we still have to make 4PP is not a porn site t-shirts. We will be doing
I can probably whip something together and I'll wear it to PAX East.
There you go. Well,
better yet, I'm certain there's a few very talented people in the community right now that could
put some of those together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to start a forum thread and put together submissions for a 4-player network, we are not a porn site t-shirt, go for it, and we will choose the best one, and we will actually put that in our store.
I'm picturing a drawing of an erect penis with balls.
I see kids.
No, wait. With Bob and Mai's faces on the balls and your head at the end of the shaft.
It's veiny.
With the subtitle, not a porn site.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's pretty, but that's pretty porny. Like the idea that the joke has to be that it's not a porn site.
Oh, your head at the top can be screaming like, ah! Angry face.
And then I'm screaming, and then out of my mouth is this white fluid.
Yeah.
and it's making the words "We are not a porn site."
Really, it's the frothy foam of the Rasputin ale coming back out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could work. I could get behind this.
Right. I like this. All right, we got to end this here.
We really got to go
before anything else horrible happens. All right, thanks everyone for watching at home over at 4pp.tv. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Chris, for coming out. Thank you all for watching Cocktail Time live at 4Player Network. Definitely check out our main website, 4playernetwork.com. for gaming editorials, opinion news, and reviews. Definitely check out our YouTube, 4Player Podcast on YouTube, and subscribe to us on YouTube. That makes us very happy. And we will see you all next week. Stick around, because I believe Brad or somebody is going to be getting on and playing some sweet, sweet video games. Good night, everybody.
Good night.